Council wishes to thank you for taking an interest in what is happening in your municipality by attending this evening. The purpose of these public hearings is to receive representations from the applicant as well as any persons who also wish to make representation on what is being proposed. We will first hear from the applicant and then from those present who wish to make representation. This will start with anyone who would like to speak in favor of the proposal, followed by those who are opposed to or object to the proposal. At the end of these other presentations, the applicant will have an opportunity to respond. Outside the council chamber, you will find sign-in sheets for tonight's public hearing applications. If anyone intends to make a presentation for any of the hearings scheduled, including the applicants, please record the necessary contact information on the appropriate sign-in sheet. If you have not signed in, please do so now in order to have the opportunity to speak to council. At the end of each presentation, the members of council may ask for clarification from the speaker on any fact or issue, but will not enter into a debate. At your opportunity to speak, please begin by stating your full name and address for the record. Persons speaking must address the chair. If they have questions that they think the applicant should answer, they should raise them in their presentation to the chair. The applicant will have an opportunity to respond again to any questions when the other presentations are finished. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Kayla. So with that, we will start this evening's meeting, and the first item on the agenda are some conditional uses. And I will ask for a resolution to move into conditional use, please.
Resolved that the regular meeting be adjourned and the public hearing be opened for conditional use 36 of 2024.
Can I have a mover, please? Or Councillor Spicer, Councillor Basarovic seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, now I'm going to turn it over to our planner, Valentina, who will walk us through this conditional use application.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll share my screen.
Valentina, you can keep your screen shared for the rest of the presentation.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so please, this is a conditional use application number CU 36/2024 on 82 Van Horn Road. And the purpose of that application is to establish an auto repair business in an agriculture restricted zone. So as per zoning bylaw in AR zone, any other agriculture use that's not listed there. And by applicant, it's proposed as a small auto repair shop, using it mainly for friends, family, and occasionally, but as a business. This is me.
Yep, that's it. No, we can hear you fine.
Yeah, I mean, with disturbances. Okay. I'm sorry, I don't know what to do with that. Okay, that good then? So here we can see a location map of the property and the subject property that we requested. Here's applicant site plan with the exact location of the proposed shop. And should council wish to approve this application, our RPD recommends the following conditions. They are standard, that condition rules will be limited to what has been presented in this application. Any further changes, replacements, or additions will require new approval. And by applicant to obtain all required permits from RPD and the RM2. That's it that I have for this conditional use, Madam Mayor.
Thank you for that, Valentina. Are there any questions for the planner from members of council? I don't see any hands going up, so I will now ask if the applicant is in the audience and if they would like to come forward and speak on their application.
I'm right here.
You want to just come forward and state your name for the record, please?
My name is Pamela Kudlick, and I own 82 Van Horn Road.
Go ahead.
I live at 82 Van Horn Road with my partner Stephen and our 4 children, ages between 7 and 12. We are a very active family. We love spending time outside as we can together, and as much as we can, actually. If you drove on our road, you would always see us in our yard playing baseball, jumping on the trampoline. In the winter, we snowmobile, we quad. We do anything we can with the kids. Whatever they want to do, we're out there. Today, the application is kind of a multi-application. When I submitted it, the Red River Planning District informed me that we were only allowed 4 vehicles on our property, and it's in the bylaws. Because we're a large family and love the outdoors, we own several vehicles. We have several cars, trailers, quad snowmobiles, we have a travel trailer. We have a mud truck. We love going mud bogging in the summer. So when we were told that we could only have 4 vehicles on our property, well, we're well over the limit. So I'm asking for permission to park those vehicles on our property. Most of them are either in our garage, in our shop, and along on the back line of our property in our garden. They're out of view from neighbors. No one can see them from the street. They're not scattered. They're not messy. They all. The main purpose of our shop is we use it for friends and our family. So people come, we spend the evenings together, the day, and we just tinker in our yard, tinker in the shop. But our request today is also to possibly use it as just a part-time business. Due to health issues, my partner has not been able to work. So we're asking for your approval just to operate a small part-time business, just to help with living costs. But I want to make it clear that I don't want to run a business where people are coming and going from the property at all hours of the day and night. We're not trying to be a Canadian Tire. We're not trying to be another automotive business of that magnitude. Our plan, again, like I said, is for family, friends of friends, and like I said, on the rare occasion, if you're in a tight bind and you need someone to help you, you can't get into a shop in town or close by, you can come to us and we're available. There's been very little increase in traffic on our road to us having our shop. I want everyone to be aware that prior to us having the property, a shop was ran on there from the time it was built until we moved in June 2021. It was the purpose of the shop back then was for a business. So it was a full-time business. So if anything, when it was used, the traffic now is probably less than what it was before that we are producing. In the first week that we moved into our home in 2021, we had people driving into our yard, parking their vehicles, and just leaving. And I'd have to run out to the driveway and ask them, what are they doing, who are they? And they'd be saying, oh, we're just leaving our vehicle here to get work on. And I said, well, no. At that time, we just moved in. So I directed them to the previous owner. The previous owner built a house just down the street and built another shop with it. So he was operating out of this new property. This happened 3 to 4 times a day the first 2 weeks we were there. And then about 2 or 3 times every other day for the next 2 weeks. So I'm giving you this example to show that traffic hasn't increased at all. If anything, it's decreased. Because we do not service vehicles on a regular basis, and it's just our own stuff, we do not store products, we do not store materials on our property. Parts and accessories are purchased only if we need it. They're delivered to our home when they're ordered. But again, deliveries were also made to the property prior to us purchasing it, so that hasn't changed either. Any parts that are taken off the vehicles, any tires that are swapped that we do, or oil changes, brake fluids, anything, everything is recycled. Nothing's left on our property permanently for long periods of time. We actually have recycling companies come out, pick up our products, and take them off our property. And they do that periodically throughout the year. We don't discard any hazardous materials in any way that harm people, animals, or the environment. We're close with several neighbors on our street, and we have asked them if they have any concerns with our intentions and what we're currently doing. And none of them have really voiced concerns to us personally. They've felt, with us as neighbors, that we're not endangering anyone or causing any issues on our street. I'm here today for one purpose, and it's to obtain a conditional use. This is not about differences between neighbors or accusations that have no merit. I don't want to get into personal issues that are not relevant to the application. I understand that we all have jobs to do as neighbors, to be respectful of the people around us. But as a neighbor, I don't feel that I have a right to dictate what my neighbors can and cannot do on their properties, especially if we're not hurting anyone. I don't have the right to spy and watch my neighbors' every move and attempt to catch them doing anything that I think is wrong. Unfortunately, someone's always going to be unhappy, try to paint a situation in a negative brush. But I ask that you please don't let people's personal opinions of myself determine how you make your decisions today. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I'm just going to see if there are any questions from members of council. Council, any questions for the applicant? Go ahead, Councillor Sutherland.
Yeah, just on average, in a week, how many vehicles do you think would be at your place, like, you know,
In a week?
that your husband would be working on?
It varies. It's maybe 3 to 5 a week, not even. I mean, even in the past 2 weeks, was one. Like, it fluctuates.
Yeah.
But it's not all like external customers. A lot of them are personal friends.
You don't have cars going back and forth?
No,
or
not at all. I
customers
mean, and I know some people, like a letter has been submitted and they even confirmed that, you know, traffic hasn't been increased that, but, like I said, it's anywhere, but we're literally anywhere between 1 and maybe 5 vehicles a week. Yeah, yeah.
And all the work is done inside a shop?
Inside, yeah,
And it's to the back of the house, if I remember correctly, from the,
yes.
I know you were here before.
It's
so-
been exactly 1 year. Yes,
Yeah.
and when it was denied before, we were just working, I said, on friends and family stuff. Just tinkering, and, you know, father-in-law would come over and, you know, fix his brakes, or we'd have people over in the evenings, you know, just tinkering. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a fence between you and your neighbor, right? Okay, thank you.
Councillor Boulanger, I believe you had your hand up.
My question, I think she answered it. Currently, they're not, I guess my question is, are they operating a business or are they just doing family and friends stuff?
It's been majority family and friends, and then we say if we have an acquaintance that was in a tight bind that they needed something done quickly, that's what we would do.
Any other questions from members of council? I'm not seeing any hands go up, so there are a couple of other people here, I believe, who may want to speak, so I may have to call you back up. So thank you for that. Okay, before I move forward, is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to speak in favor of this application? Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to speak opposed to this application? Okay, the gentleman in the corner, if you want to come forward, state your name for the record.
My name is Robert Goods, G-U-D-Z. I reside on both properties on 167 and 159 CIL Road. Our acreage borders east of the property of the applicant. We have 24 acres that extends from CIL Road right to Goodman's. And like I said, our property butts right against this particular applicant who wants to put a business in there. I realize she's saying it's a family business, it's a friend's business, but it doesn't take much to escalate into a prominent business. There's going to be traffic in that area. She says right now there is another auto repair shop on that street. So you get a second repair stop in there. Sooner or later, you're going to get more traffic. And the business isn't going to be directed basically at friends and relatives. You know, sooner or later, it's going to fall onto bigger business. And where their shop right now is located at the back of the house, they must have a driveway going along the property that goes along our acreage. So chances are, sooner or later, they're going to have some vehicles, more vehicles, many vehicles parked along that side that butts along our property. Right now, we're looking at selling that acreage that goes along their property. And the schematic that we got proposed for a developer to go in there would mean lots would be butted up against this particular property. If I was someone who was had a lot and I wanted to build a house and I was butting my backyard butted against their property and there was a service station, as you may say, it would sort of turn me off. It's fine and dandy, I know, to have a business. I'm not knocking the business. All I'm saying is what it's going to do. It's going to create extra traffic. It's going to create, I've known a lot of car dealers, car service reps in the past few years, and I know lots of them don't keep their yards immaculate. They got dead cars, they got tires, they got trailers all kicking around in their backyards. Will this property sooner or later fall into that category? I don't know. But to me, I'm not for it. If they want to go and pursue it further, I just want to say it doesn't sit well with me that I'm going to have a service station, as you may say, in my backyard. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Mr. Goods. Okay, I saw another gentleman with his hand up. Do you want to just come to the podium, please, sir, and state your name for the record?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Vladimir Zablowski, and I live at 78 Van Horn Road. I am the next door neighbor to the owners at 82. And if I can maybe ask the planning to, if I can put some photographs of exactly what Mr. Goodman was saying. I have pictures that I would like the council to see and the members to see. Is that okay?
Kayla's going to grab that from you.
I appreciate that because I will exactly explain what he was talking about. And it is part of my presentation as well.
Sorry, Madam Mayor, I'm having trouble connecting to the ClickShare to present this.
I would like to distribute to the council, and if you can keep on trying, that'd be great. I would like the audience to see as well. But I would like to pass along the pictures that were taken on February the 7th. This
Can
year.
you just hand all the pictures over and then they'll circulate through?
Of the property, and the view of the property. And also part of my presentation moving forward as well.
Yes, go ahead with your presentation, and Deepak will keep trying to get the quick share order, so.
So I'm not against, like I'm a next door neighbor and I have the most, I'll be the impact, my family will be impacted the most by an automotive repair industry business going into that property. We're not against Pamela and Steven to tinkering on vehicles, helping friends and family, fixing brake jobs, oil changes as friends and family tinkering. We are concerned about their a business going into that location. Councillor Belanger, you were not here for the Conditional Use 1 2024 presentation, so I'm going to just highlight our concerns as a family about the proposed conditional use and about our experience, because I think it's important that I make this presentation, given we're looking at this for the second time. I just want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to, and also I would like to, I will submit this after me reading this, and I would like this to be added as a part of the agenda. My last presentation almost a year ago, I asked for the same thing, I gave a copy, but it was never added to the agenda as a letter as well. It was never added, so I'm a little disappointed for that as well. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to address you this evening and express my opposition to the conditional use application 3624 to open a full-service automobile repair industry business at 82 Van Horn Road in East Flushing, Manitoba. A full-service automobile repair industry business on Van Horn Road is a terrible idea. It violates several requirements listed in section 316 of the zoning bylaw. This business violates bylaw section 316, 318 by generating vehicle traffic that is more than what is characteristic on Van Horn Road. The business model for automobile repair industry is to generate profits from quick turnover of vehicles in for service. The profit model of 2 mechanics with an option of a third employee working full-time Monday to Friday from 2 service bays will exponentially increase traffic, the vehicle traffic on Van Horn Road. And I'm getting the point about 2 mechanics based on the current conditions as stated in the conditional use application. There will be 2 employees in addition to the resident of the premises. And I think that the planning person can confirm those conditions exist.
We'll talk about that conditions.
The location of this business is at the end of a no-turn road. This means that every vehicle traveling to the property must travel the entire length of the road and again travel the entire length of the road when leaving. There is a regular flow of customer vehicles to and from the property. Parts, delivery, service vehicles to and from the property multiple times a day. The delivery and pickup of vehicles continues into the evening and on the weekends. There's people coming in tandem cars, dropping off one vehicle and leaving in another vehicle. There's people coming in with one vehicle, picking up the vehicle that was serviced, and then driving away with 2 vehicles, one after another. Children, like neighborhood children, my children, use this road. With this new traffic pattern on Van Horn Road, We are concerned for the safety of our children. The business violates bylaw section 316.312. The storage area shall be fenced or screened from public view. Storage of vehicles is a characteristic of automobile repair industry business. This property is not fenced. I have seen an increase in the inventory of vehicles on the property since the business started to operate. Some of these vehicles have not moved for over a year. Residents on Van Horn Road take pride in keeping their property neat and tidy. This collection of vehicles and vehicle parts continues to grow on this property. It violates unsightly properties bylaw number 11-2012. This collection of vehicles is also a potential violation of provincial environmental laws through potential release of pollutants and contaminations of soil. You can see, I will also like to read a letter from the agenda. Well, there you go. Thank you very much for sharing that. I think that's what you were referring to as well in your presentation. Regarding the buildup of vehicles, I would also like to read a letter that was included in today's meeting from our neighbor, Mon and Mike Colburn at 72 Van Horn Road. They're just adjacent to me on the west side. I won't read the whole letter, but I'll read the bigger paragraph here. As residents of Van Horn Road, we respect the Kulik family's desire to operate an automotive business from their residential property. However, we wish to express a concern regarding the increasing number of vehicles, vehicle parts, and trailers being stored on the property over the past year. Currently, we can observe approximately 10 vehicles/trailers from both our deck and dining room window. Van Horn Road has long been known for its well-maintained properties, and our backyard has historically offered views of fields and trees. We do not wish to overlook the storage of vehicles and parts related to an auto repair business, and we feel that the current number of vehicles stored in plain view is excessive for a residential neighborhood. Furthermore, should we decide to sell our property in the future, we are worried that the visibility of these vehicles could potentially impact the marketability and value of our home. As you can see on the location map, the accessory building where this business is operating from is very close to our home. In fact, the distance between the accessory building and our home is only 94 feet. We cannot stress this enough. This close distance of the accessory building to our home is of great concern to us. The noise generated from this business and exhaust fumes from vehicles in for service will carry onto our property. This will be detrimental to the health and well-being of my family. Having a full-service automobile repair business 36 feet from the property line will be catastrophic to the value of our home. This business is not compatible with the general nature of our neighborhood. It does not fit into the development plan. Van Horn Road is an affluent area of St. Clements. There are homes roughly from $500,000 to over $1 million on that road. 17 homes sharing this calm and quiet no-through road for exclusive access to their properties. Children feel safe to ride their bicycles, and the residents on the road and residents use the road for taking their dogs, for walking their dogs and running. Section 3.7 of conditional use bylaw states, when approving a conditional use, council is to secure objectives of the zoning bylaw and development plan. A full-service automobile repair industry business at the end of the no-through road does not fit into the development agreement on Van Horn Road. this business is a better fit on Main Street than on our road. Allowing this business to continue their illegal operation 1 year after the defeat of a conditional use 1-2024 will be catastrophic. This will forever change the character of our neighborhood and depress the real estate values of Granholm Road. I would also like to address the comment made by the applicant that there was a business there prior to them purchasing a property. I would like to address that because it is one of their main points in their application, in their argument. Edward, the properties changed owners within 10 months of each other. We bought the property and then the applicant bought the property the following summer after us. I had a brief moment to get to know my neighbor. He passed away, Edward. He passed away, may he rest in peace. He's a great person. He was indeed working on vehicles there. From what I could tell from the short amount of time, he was working on friends and family vehicles. He had no storage or whatsoever on the property or vehicles. The rear of the property was immaculate. They cut the grass all the time, on time. The only service that we saw was for that brief moment of time, there was vehicles coming and going, but there was no storage of any kind of vehicles on that property. I also checked into the history. There was no business registered on that property, and the planning can confirm that there was no conditional use that was given to that person. He was actually working as a person for his friends and family and people in the community. So I want to address that. There was no business on that property, no conditional use that was issued and approved for that property on the previous ownership.
Do you have anything more that you would like to add?
I would like to add a little bit more. Madam Mayor, please be patient with me. It took a year for us to get here again. I appreciate a little bit of patience. I know it's been a long meeting for the council members and so forth. But this is just a nice segue into the next part of my presentation. And please, I'm being sincere here. As we reflect on our experience since bringing this illegal business to the attention of Red River Planning District and the RM of St. Clements over a year ago, we are extremely concerned about the lack of enforcement on our community bylaws. Can council explain why, after nearly a year since the conditional use application 1-2024 was defeated, this illegal business continues to advertise as East Celtic Tire and operate in our community without permits and licenses? What steps were taken to ensure the decision for conditional use 1-2024 to enforce the decision for the conditional use 1-2024? I would like an explanation why we are here again in front of our council to hear an application for conditional use 36-2024 that is identical to conditional use 1-2024 in terms of their conditions, which was defeated by council on February 27th, not February 28th, 2024. My understanding is the decision of council is final. It cannot be appealed or reapplied without changes or amendment. Today we are hearing the same conditional use application. And the conditional use application brochure states the fact that can I appeal the municipal council's decision if my application is rejected? The answer is no. Council decision is final and there are no appeals. I'm almost done. On February 13th, 2025, so just a few weeks ago, I had a joint morning meeting with Jennifer Ferguson, Executive Director, and Trevor Evans, Bylaw Enforcement Officer of Red River Planning District. At this meeting, I learned from Jennifer that, by the way, they're good people, hardworking people, that her office does not have a lot of teeth when it comes to enforcement process without the support of the RM. Trevor said that he was held back by the RM council members from doing his job of enforcing the defeat of conditional use application 1/2024. Trevor dismissed a plethora of evidence of this illegal business activity. No fines were issued, no property owners, to the property owner or court orders applied for to stop this illegal business and clean up the property. Instead, RM and the Riverview Planning District worked together with the owners to help this business operate without permits and license for a year. I'm almost done. I feel it is important to bring to council's attention the conduct of Tyler Freeman, Manager of Protecting Services, Compliance Officer, Emergency Coordinator for the RM of St. Clement, regarding this matter. In his February 6, 2025 email correspondence to us, he stated that he inspected the property on January 24, 2025. The property has been fully cleaned up. He also sees no reason to proceed with our unsightly complaint. I will bring the council's attention to the photos that I distributed that were taken on February 7th. These pictures show that the property is still in direct violation of the unsightly bylaw. Why is Tyler working with the owners to provide false, misleading information about the state of the property? This is a major breach of conduct of municipal employee and should be addressed by council. I would like to remind council, as the elected representative of our community, Madam Mayor Debbie Fipplecorn, Councilor Scott Spicer, Councilor Glenn Kostarovich, Councilor Dave Horvis, Councilor Dave Sutherland, Councilor Robert Belanger, and Councilor Sandra Strain, to sign an oath of office for members of council which states that I will act faithfully in the office without fear, favor, or affection, and will truly, faithfully, and impartially, and to the best of my knowledge and ability, execute the duties and responsibilities of that office. I make this solemn declaration conscientiously, believing it to be true, and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath, and by virtue of Canada Evidence Act. Respectfully, Madam Mayor and council members, there is a strong pattern here of favoritism and affection for the property owners in dealing with enforcement of rejected conditional use application 1/2024. Instead of enforcing the decision, the council, in cooperation with Red River District, has colluded with the owners to the business to keep it open for a year without permits and licenses. My recommendation for council is to distance itself from this conditional use application. This is so much more than just about this business. A vote in favor of this it will be a breaching of your oath. It will, most importantly, this is where my biggest concern is, it will set a dangerous precedent not only in the RM of St. Clement, but also other communities that are within Red River Planning District.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Excuse me, sir. No, hang on. You've made accusations at a public hearing. Unless you could verify against those accusations, you've accused our bylaw officer of colluding. Unless you have some evidence to that, I'd like you to refrain. The evidence you provided are pictures and your interpretation of a bylaw. Are you a lawyer? Are you a bylaw officer? Because if you aren't, your interpretation is your right. But sir, we have a professional bylaw officer who's made his determination on untidy and unsightly situation. So if you continue to make these types of accusations, we'll have to deal with those afterwards.
I finished with that part of my presentation. I have one more paragraph to read, and that will be the rest of and that will be the end of my presentation. To preserve the integrity of the conditional use process in our community, to preserve the integrity of this chamber, please reject this for the second time, this conditional use application. Help us protect the rural character of our neighborhood for the safe use of its residences. Now, I would like to offer a compromise as well to our neighbor as well, okay?
I'm sorry.
No, this is the application that is before council, and that is what council must deal with.
Okay, so my recommendation is that we make the following changes to the conditions of the conditional use.
That is not what I said, sir. We have the conditional use before us. If it's to do with the conditions, we could consider them, but we can't change the intent of the application.
It has to do with the conditions, Madam Mayor.
Okay?
So the conditions that are presented in the conditional use that condition number 4, outdoor storage is limited to 10 vehicles. Condition number 5, the business is limited to a maximum of 2 employees who do not reside on the property. An applicant owner to number 6, applicant owner to install fence along the west perimeter of the property to extend 20 feet beyond the length of the shop to the north and south. I would like to recommend that we remove these conditions and replace them with the following. Hours of operation will be restricted to hours between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m., Monday to Friday. The dwelling is carried, the business is carried on solely by the members of the family residing at the same dwelling unit without the employment of other persons. Has no exterior display, no exterior storage of business equipment, materials, merchandise, or inventory of vehicles, and no other exterior indication of the business or variation of the residential character of the principal residence and accessory building. Number 4, does not become offensive or obnoxious or create a public nuisance. Does not cause the generation of traffic congestion in the neighborhood. Thank you for your time. I mean no disrespect.
Well, I have a couple of issues, I guess, and I will be very open here. On one hand, you're telling us that we're not doing our job, but on the other hand, you are telling us what to put in the resolution to approve this application. I see that as a conflict, and I am not sure what council is going to do with it. I just feel that you've painted us with a brush that I do not believe is correct, and then you're trying to compromise so that your neighbor can still carry on his business and you make us change our minds. I have an issue with that, I'm sorry.
I'm being honest here.
No, I want to keep going because we have a number of applications here, and I think that you have said what you needed to say, and I would like to move on.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor.
I do have a couple of questions, and I was remiss a little earlier. There were a couple of letters here in support of this application that were submitted, and they were on our docket, and all of council got copies of them. But I will again ask if there is anybody in the audience who wishes to speak against this application. Do you want to come forward and state your name for the record, please?
Okay, my name is Molly Cheddar. I'm at 73 Van Horn Road, which is across and just a little further up from the property. When I got the notice of public hearing for the conditional use from the Army of St. Clement, it says on here the applicant is seeking a conditional use approval for any other agricultural use not listed to run a small auto repair business or friends only. But when I get the further information that's online, we have recommendations from Red River Planning District, Kayla Cottleway, that is advising outdoor storage limited to 10 vehicles The business is limited to a maximum of 2 employees who do not reside on the property. This kind of information, if I hadn't, if we hadn't looked further, I'm thinking this is friends and family application here, and then I see it's becoming a little bit more of a commercial business. We live on 4-acre properties that are very well maintained, as the gentleman said today, who is opposed to it as well, is that these residences are worth significant money. And so when when I see these pictures here, because I haven't seen those either, I see that the property is not being held up to what we expect as a neighborhood. When we have houses to the extent of $500,000 up to over $1 million, that this is the way it's being done. So when I see a public notice and then I see that St. Clements is recommending much more, if we hadn't have looked into this, I would have assumed it's just going to be friends and family business, 5 hours a day, that kind of stuff. And meanwhile, it's recommending more of a commercial kind of business with employees. So I'm like the gentleman here, I wasn't particularly against because the previous owner did have that. I knew Edward very well. We've been in the development since the beginning. We built our home there. And so we've known Edward for many years. And like the gentleman said, he did pass away. There is no other, he built another house just down the road a little bit, but he's passed away, so there is no business operating out of there. So this is what we're looking at now. So my concern, and I want council, regardless of what the gentleman is saying, to really pay attention that this is a residential area, 4 acres, beautiful homes on there, and when I see the pictures of all those vehicles behind there, that is not how a business should operate. Edward did not have any vehicles in his backyard. He did 1 vehicle at a time. He did not have piles of stuff in the backyard, all sitting willy-nilly. I don't want my property devalued because of it. If these people can operate similar to Edward, we'd be fine with it. But now we're talking additional employees coming on board. It's more commercial oriented now. And I don't want things happening on the weekends either. We are a residential area that we want to enjoy our property. I don't want vehicles running and revving and everything else going on. So I just wanted to make note of this because the conditions are different than what came from the planning district to us.
Thank you so much for that, and
Okay.
I think our CAO would like to...
I'd like to address some of your points and the valid points, and I
Yeah.
think just to clarify, when you contacted our staff, Kayla, at the office, what I think Kayla gave you was what the zoning bylaw allows, but when you see the application that's been made here, it specifically states in there only allows what the nature of the application that's been described here, not the full rights. So under zoning, there are certain rights, and then when somebody comes for a public hearing and they have these kinds of discussions, exactly some of the things you've laid out can be put on as additional conditions, and also it lays in there, I think, Valentina, you brought it up earlier, it says that this application is limited to what has been presented in this application. So even though the zoning bylaw may allow you more, this conditional use doesn't allow that. It says only what's been presented in this application.
I've got a letter though of recommendation, right, from St. Clements with these points on there, saying that this is what they want to do from the. So I'm confused because, like I said, friends and family is one thing, but this here allowing 10 vehicles, employees, things like that, is gone above and beyond what this here notice of public hearing has purported.
Can I ask what the date on that letter is, because it
The
sounds
date
very
of the letter
similar.
is January 24th, 2025.
The application was circulated to us. I spoke with the planning department. These are the conditions that were put on the original application that was defeated a year ago, and we felt that it was the same conditions that could go forward again.
Can I clarify? Can I clarify?
Yes.
Go ahead, Valentina.
Okay, so I will combine all of the information all around it, that everything comes to us, okay? And we will provide as a product that application from all the sites. So the applicant proposal for that application was to establish auto repair business for friends and family and occasionally as a business. So From the beginning, when we've got that application, it was written a little bit less than that. It was written for the friends and family, and then when we posted it, we've got an update from applicant that it's going to be like that. It's going to be a small auto repair business using mainly for friends and family and occasionally by as a business. That's why we correct it as it is for now. So those conditions that you saw, we've got from RM as a condition for the previous conditional use application, and for now, when I represented those, I have two versions of the same slides, and unfortunately I've got the wrong one, so those are conditions that are still stands, and we recommend them for now too. So if it's gonna be recommended or approved like auto business for now, those conditions will stand and will protect the neighborhood as one that this condition is limited to only what is being represented, and by applicant to obtain all required license, new or renewal municipal business license too. So the license will be permitted if they will get those. Okay, it's not going to be business without any license. This is a conditional use application will expire in 3 years from the date of this approval. Outdoor storage will be limited to 10 vehicles. Yes, it still stands there, and business is limited to maximum 2 employees. If there are any employees, as applicant states, there is only her husband that's working on it for now, as I heard. And applicant wanted to install a fence that will go around and it will extend 20 feet beyond the line of the shop. And for sure, we will require all required permits if needed. So for now, all those conditions that we've got from around will be recommended for that conditional use too.
Okay, so the earlier conditions you read was actually, these are the ones.
Yeah, these
So you
are
have
the
a
ones.
valid point, madam,
I have a
and
vote.
these are the points that you brought up that you'd like to have addressed, and council has the ability to waive or remove any of those conditions.
That's good to hear, because like I said, one little letter coming in and then going and looking up information and finding out lots more details, that is not in keeping with our area. We are a residential area. I don't mind someone doing small business, that kind of thing, but when I see the pictures of those vehicles all out there, it's not something I feel someone should have to look at out their backyard.
I appreciate the pictures that were provided by the opponent to the application. There was also pictures provided by our own bylaw officer who's doing the review, and he was dealing with the issues as well.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Okay, is there anybody else in the audience who wishes to speak against this application?
Hi, I'm Joseph Cheddar, I'm from 73 Van Horn Road. My
Can you
wife.
just repeat that? I didn't catch it.
Okay, I'll try and speak louder.
That's okay.
I'm Joseph Cheddar from 73 Van Horn Road. My wife just presented the same thing that I was concerned about. I have no problem with someone running a business, family business, no extra mechanics in there. And everybody's entitled to make a living, that's fine, but not at the cost of possibly devaluating my property in the future, because there's going to be a big business run versus a small business. So I oppose the 2 mechanic stuff and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, I will ask once more, is there anybody else in the audience who wishes to speak against this application? I don't see any hands going up, and I will now ask the applicant if they have anything to say to further their application after they've heard all the comments from the neighbors.
I think there's a huge misunderstanding with this current application. A lot of the information that everyone has been talking about was from a year ago. A year goes over, we're not appealing it, we paid the money to do a new permit. There's no intention of having extra employees. That's not what this is about. We're not creating a commercial business to run on the property full time. I think we should be allowed to use our shop for our own personal use. without having people complain thinking we're automatically running a full-blown business. That's not our intention. That's not what we're trying to do. This is every so often, if we want to use it, if someone needs help, we want to use it for our business. But it's, like I said, maybe 1 a week. The rest of the vehicles that come and go are our own and our friends and our family. The vehicles that were in those pictures, those are all ours. Like I said in my previous message, we're a big family and we love to spend time outside. We drive a lot of vehicles, we quad, we do everything. The one picture that you saw where there was half a truck, yeah, that one's not ours, that's a buddy's. We're in the middle of doing a transmission.
No.
What is it?
No, the high pressure fuel pump plant,
Yeah.
and it's been a long process that I'm getting tired of looking at, but
And
it's expensive and he's
he
got a family and taking forever to come up with money to buy the parts.
and he works up north.
Yeah.
So he's not home a lot. So that's been on our property, but that was him and a buddy were working on it together. But like I said, all those vehicles in the yard are ours.
And hopefully they're gonna be leaving soon too, like, we bought, like, there was a white Subaru, I bought it off my cousin last year, that we were hoping to just safety and get rid of it, and it just,
Or use a commuter
yeah,
vehicle.
I got sick, and I don't know, I've been getting tested for MS, and it's been kind of a whirlwind, and like some weeks, the reason that there's more vehicles in the trip is because I've been sick a lot this winter, and I haven't been able to actually get stuff done, which is, it's on me, I understand that, but like, I hate having like a dozen freaking vehicles in my yard too. Like, this is not, I don't want all of this stuff there. Like, we have a couple of trailers that are ours just for hauling stuff. Like, we have the mud truck, we have a trailer for it, I have a dump trailer and a 1-ton. Like, they're gonna sit there because they have their purpose to be used 3 times a year, and I tried selling them and nobody wanted them. So, I'm not trying to have a full-blown mechanic shop. I'm hoping that I can actually go back to work once I start feeling better. It's just kind of up in the air. I've actually sent out some resumes and had some interviews on some actually federal government jobs, trying to not do this because this was supposed to be a hobby. I never wanted to actually do it like as a full-time thing at all. So I just want to make that clear to everybody that like it's never going to be Canadian Tire or anything else because that's not me. Don't want to do it. I would go insane if I was ever doing something like that. So
We're not trying to cause any issues between the neighbors. We're close to the area. Traffic is not increasing. It hasn't increased. The only thing that has increased is Amazon deliveries, really. And that's it.
Okay, I think Councillor Sutherland had a question for you perhaps.
Yeah, just to confirm, heard you say it, but I just wanna, you are the one that works on the vehicles,
Yes,
you've
sir.
never hired
no,
mechanics.
I have a buddy of mine that's working on his car right now in the shop, replacing the motor. But like, they just come in like it's a 2-bay shop. So like, if I have a friend that needs to do something for themselves, like it's just a space that they can use. But it's me. I'm there during the day when I'm able to work.
So you're not hiring a licensed
No.
mechanic, you never have, and you,
No.
there's no intention of that.
No, not at all.
Okay, I got a question for Valentina, could you bring up those conditions again that they would have to adhere to?
Those are conditions, and unfortunately I cannot restart the numbers somehow, so we're starting from 1. So all of those will be as our recommendation to that conditional use, and they still stand from last year.
So based on those conditions, and I think this is what the councillor and I were talking about, is you just came back and presented that there seems to be some confusion. So you came back and presented that some of those things don't really apply. That was a previous application.
Right,
So
those were
you're
from a
okay
previous
with
application.
not having the ability to have employees, so let me take it out.
That's
So
not a
that way,
problem.
that's not a condition, so your application, are you okay with condition 3 and 4?
Yeah, like the fence is already there, and then whatever permits need to be.
Yeah, I believe this was discussed last
Yeah.
time. Our neighbor put up a fence that extends on each side of the shop already.
Okay, so then the condition is there, so you're definitely not gonna have employees. And the outdoor storage that's been limited to 10 vehicles, is that
That's
what
fine.
you were looking for, or you're
That
saying
was
that
pretty
it
much
should be
it.
pretty less?
Yeah, we're not storing other people's vehicles. The vehicles, like I said, are all ours except that one truck.
Okay, so you're saying that the only vehicles you have are personal vehicles?
Yeah, and like even the ones that we have, like, I don't want that many back there. There might be a couple, but like 10, it was just the number that was on the permit or the conditional use application, so.
So is that what you're requesting for in this application, or are you looking to change that based on the dialogue that's occurred?
No, that's it. Trevor, when him and Tyler came to our property, he mentioned the vehicle limit, and I didn't know.
No, because like other
Yeah.
properties on our road have more than 4, like several properties on our road have more than 4 that are way out in the open. So we didn't know that that was even a thing. So that one kind of surprised us.
Okay, Councillor Boulanger, go ahead.
Item 3, talking about fence, which was just brought up, you say the fence is there? Is it on one side or both sides? And how tall is the fence?
It's on the west side of the shop and it's 6 or 7 feet, like it's a fairly
It's higher.
tall wood fence.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I have a question, and I know we talked about this already. You said no employees. We can very easily take that out if council so chooses. The outdoor storage is intended or is limited to 10 vehicles. Would it be a hardship if we said 8?
No, I don't believe so, no.
Because I'm planning on getting rid of a whole bunch of my own, so.
Well, I know that everybody wants to be good neighbors and everything else, but, you know, I guess we don't want to see conflict in the area either, and if that is something that could be accommodated, that may help.
And I'm more concerned that some of the information that everyone presented today, they received the wrong information. I don't want anyone to think that we are trying to have more vehicles come and go constantly, because that's not the case. And I don't want more vehicles parked in our yard. I mean, they're all ours, but there's a lot.
Okay, and one last question that I have is it a hardship if we say that the business is only carried on between 8 and 5 during the day, like nothing in the evening or
Yeah,
weekends?
the only time I ever do anything in the evenings is like when I'm working on my own stuff.
Yeah.
But even then, evenings are usually pretty busy with hockey and baseball and stuff like
The
that.
kids
so.
are pretty active and they have a lot of extracurricular things, so we're rarely home in the evenings. But when we are, I mean, we use our shop for our own personal use. It's not just strictly a business, this is our property, this is our home, this is where we spend our time.
Okay, any other questions for the applicants? Go ahead, Councillor Horbis.
So for Valentina, if you have a building on your property, okay, and you're only allowed the 4 vehicles in your yard, could you store more vehicles in your buildings? As long as they're not visual, is that right?
Yeah,
Okay,
you're allowed to store 4 outside. Inside,
4
just
outside?
whatever comes in.
okay.
4 outside as a normal bylaw.
Yeah.
Anything beyond that, you have to get rid of.
Exactly.
And that's what this part is for. So we have vehicles, like I said, that are parked in our garage, so we don't have 10 outside. We have 6.
Like, I don't know, right now, but like, we have 2, 3 trucks in the back, a mud truck, 2 cars and an SUV that are all ours, but like, those numbers hopefully will be going down, because like I posted one of them for sale the other day. It just, I've been sick,
But,
so.
but you're saying that, but hopefully, in order for this to work for everybody, the change has to happen, because that's what everybody's looking for here, I think. And I respect that, like last time, we had a problem, I had a problem with this, because I hate to see somebody who's trying to make a living and they can't do it. That upsets me, you know? I think everybody should be able to make a living, you know, if it's on your own property or whatever. So that's what I have a problem with.
And I'm trying to be respectful, like if there's ever any problem.
There's another business on your, sorry, there's another business
Yes,
around
I
here?
know they say it's not operating, but it is. It operates in the evenings.
Yeah, Ed's kids
They come
are
and
running
go.
their automotive shop from their house, like there's a Google listing for.
But I guess it must be pretty quiet or whatever, that they just bring a car in and then a car leaves or something like that, so it's not.
But we are being watched for any car that comes into our yard. That's one of the biggest concerns I have right now.
Well, you're popular.
When you're friendly. And yes, there was a conditional use, or a complaint that was made for the unsightly yard. With that, it happened at the end of the summer. We were gone all of July. We were camping, we were quadding, we were gone. When we got home, we started cleaning our campers out, we started cleaning out our wood sheds. We had a lot of stuff in the front of our shop. And I guess the complaint was made that we weren't cleaning it up quickly. So Trevor and Tyler did come to our place, and I explained to them what was happening. And so they gave me the instructions to tidy it up, which we were already doing. And when he came in January at the end of Christmas there, he was perfectly fine with what we had. And he even mentioned to us, like, we're not expecting you to have a completely immaculate property. Everyone's gonna have stuff lying around here and there. It's just impossible, especially for the size of family. And that's what he said to me, and those are the pictures that he sent in January or February when he finished his file. Nothing is out of place. Everything has a spot. Like kids like to leave their quads, they like to leave their GTs around. You know, we have hockey sticks and hockey nets all over the place. Like, we're a family. We have young kids.
But I guess the other thing is you're still advertising, eh? You're advertising online.
Yeah, and it's only the friends and that
I'm
person.
trying to get like, just like, especially like on the reserves, like oil changes and stuff, because that's where family's from. Like the kid's dad is from Black River, so like he played hockey for them. I'm trying not to die and be able to pay bills at the same time, and some days it's really difficult.
Okay, I have one more question, and then I think what we're gonna do is I'm gonna try and read some of these conditions, because we've made changes and we've swapped some out, and I'm gonna read them out and see if council agrees with what I'm reading, and then if we could move this forward. I think on the original application, and I think that's what I'm looking at, is that the conditional use will expire in 3 years from the date of its approval. Would you have any hardship if we said 2 years for now?
It was originally 5 and it came down to 3 in the original application. I would ask why we would put it to 2, but it wouldn't be a hard no for us.
I want to make it clear, like, as soon as I'm able to go back to work, like, this is going to be, like, very much a back burner thing. So, like, hopefully soon, like, very soon. Like, I've done interviews and I'm just waiting for the HR and the federal government to take their sweet time.
Okay, so then are you saying you would prefer to leave it at 3?
Could, just, it's about the parking situation is more so over any type of business. I like to tinker around with vehicles.
Okay, I'm going to try reading this, and please forgive me if I get this wrong, because I think I'm looking at probably part of the old resolution, which was in our docket here, so I'm gonna see what I can do with it. So, I'm just gonna read the conditions, and I'm gonna ask council if this is what they want, or if it has to be changed. This conditional use is limited to what has been presented in this application. Any further changes, replacement, or additions would require a new approval. Is that one okay, council? Okay. Applicant owner to obtain all required licenses and/or permits with the RM of St. Clements, including but not limited to new and/or renewal of a municipal business license. 3, this conditional use application will expire in 3 years from the date of its approval. Outdoor storage is limited to, did we say 8 vehicles?
8, you said.
8 vehicles. The previous one said 10, so we're taking you down there.
So
Go ahead.
on the 8, is that 8 of their vehicles, or is that 8 that if somebody comes and leaves their car there, that it's gonna exceed, it should never exceed the 8 then?
It should never exceed the 8.
The 8, that's including your vehicle, so if your buddy leaves his car there and there's 9 there, then there's a problem, just,
Right.
okay?
Okay, the business is limited to a maximum, oh, we said no
That's-
employees.
No.
We're taking that right out, so no employees. And applicant owner to install a fence along the west perimeter of the property to extend 20 feet beyond the length of the shop to the north and south. Has that been done already? I'm gonna leave it in there though, just in case. Applicant owner obtains all required permits from Red River Planning District and the municipality if required. Is there anything else, or have I missed anything, council?
The time?
Business hours of operation.
Oh, business hours, okay. Business hours of operation shall be 8 till 5, Monday to Friday.
Madam Mayor, I installed the fence, the applicant never installed the fence. Sorry to interrupt, but that's an important point to make. I installed the fence at my own expense, not the applicant.
Did you install a fence at all?
No, he put it up. Before we even did anything with the conditional use permit, it was put up, and I didn't even know what was going on. But
Does the fence extend 20 feet beyond the length
I
of the
measured it.
shop?
Yes, it does. And it is 6 feet high.
Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
Does the fence go 20 feet to the north of the shop and 20 feet to the south of the shop?
It does.
How long is the shop?
40 feet?
Well, if it's 40 feet and the fence is only 20.
No,
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 no.
he shows it has it on each side.
Yeah,
Oh,
it extends.
extends 20
The
feet.
fence is 100,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
fence is 160 feet.
Go ahead.
So I'm just gonna throw this out there. Do we need 2 fences beside each other?
I don't believe so.
No, we're just saying the fence is already there, we're
Yeah,
not
but
to build
it
it.
says applicant owner to install a fence. So right now, you're saying he's building another fence.
No.
That's what it says.
Oh, so
That's
you're
what it
saying to
says.
switch it just to make sure there's a fence between?
There's a fence.
Yeah, because it reads that I'm supposed to build a fence.
What is the wish? If there's a fence there,
Take it out then.
Take it out.
okay.
So would you like me to read the resolution now, Madam
I
Mayor?
think we have everything,
Yeah, thank you.
I guess my only question or comment to the gentleman in the audience is, when did you place that fence? Before this application came before council?
Yes,
Okay,
I
so
placed
you
the
did
fence.
it, so you did it on your own?
at my own expense, yes.
Yes, but before you even knew that your neighbors were going to apply for this application for the business, and we could have put a condition at that time on, for him to build a fence, but you took it upon yourself to build a fence on your own.
That is correct, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, there's some other little buildings on the property, little, do you need permits for those buildings there? Is that's those,
Coveralls.
buildings or whatever?
Coveralls.
Coveralls?
There was one coverall building
Yeah,
I saw.
I saw 2 coveralls, 3 actually.
They have our clause, you know.
Yeah, but they need permits
They need
for, if they're over 10 feet, don't they?
If there are no foundations or, it's supposed to, but we haven't got any information about that.
They're not on a foundation, they're just on the ground.
How big are those?
10 by 18 or something like that.
Yeah, see, they may not need, I know we had a bigger one, we needed a
Yeah, no, they're just the small ones you can get from Canadian Tire.
Madam Mayor, we had one of those on our property, and planning told us to remove it when we built the garage. So we did not have a foundation.
Okay,
This is not the issue for now. so-
no, that's correct. Thank you for that, Valentina. Okay, I'm going to hand it over to our CAO to see if we can get this resolution right and move forward.
Okay, I think we've made all the necessary changes, Madam Mayor, from what we've heard from council. Let's see if I can. Whereas the applicant order of tax roll number 311988, a property legally described as Lot 9, Plan 511, and located at 82 Van Horn Road, has made application for conditional use 36-24 in order to allow a home industry auto repair business in the AR agricultural restricted zone. Therefore be it resolved, conditional use application number 36-2024 be approved with the following conditions. This conditional use is limited to what has been presented in this application. Any further changes, replacement, or additions would require a new approval. 2, applicant order to obtain all required licenses and or permits with the RSA commence, including but not limited to new and or renewal of business license. 3, the conditional use application will expire in 3 years from the date of approval. 4, outdoor storage is limited to 8 vehicles. 5, applicant owner obtains all required permits from the River Planning District of the municipality if required. And 6, business hours of operation shall be 8 to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Approval shall expire if not acted upon within 12 months of the date of making. And Madam Mayor, since the question was brought up in the public hearing, I just want to address it. The point that says in our applicant order require all permits from Red River Planning District. So if there's a permit required for those coveralls, you will have to get those.
Yeah. Okay, we have the resolution read. Can I have a mover, please? Yes.
We need to close the public hearing.
Oh, right, yes.
Sorry.
Thank you, Heather.
Resolve the public hearing for conditional use 36-2024 be closed and the regular session of council be reconvened.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Spicer, Councillor Borba seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Would council like me to read the resolution one more time?
No. Okay, for the resolution, can I have a mover? Councillor Sutherland moves, Councillor Boulanger seconds. If there is no further discussion, I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Thank you all for your patience this evening. This is a little bit longer, but we're going to move on. Oh, great. Kayla, can you give this to... Okay, the next application we have is another conditional use, and if we could move into the conditional use board, please.
Resolve the regular meeting be adjourned and public hearing be open for conditional use 4 of 2025.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Sutherland, second. Councillor Orbis, all in favor? Opposed? Is carried. And I am going to turn it over to Valentina to walk us through that application, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Turn it on.
So this is a conditional use application CU for 2025 on 5602 PR 202 Road. And purpose of that application is to establish a small auto business in agricultural structured zone. So by the San Clemente bylaw, it is conditional as a home industry, a small auto business. Here we can see a location map of the subject property. This is a site plan provided by applicant with exact location of the shop. And should council wish to approve this application, the RFD recommends the following conditions. This conditional use is limited to what has been presented. Any other changes will require new approval by applicant to obtain all required license and all permits with RMs and permits including but not limited to new and or renewal of the municipal business license, and by applicants to obtain all required permits from our regular planning district and RM if required. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you for that, Valentina. I think Heather has gone to ask them to go around the corner. It's
Yeah.
kind of noisy. Okay, first of all, is the applicant in the audience this evening?
Yeah, right here.
You want to come forward and state your name for the record and tell us what you would like to do with that property?
My name is Jonah Tuppen-McKee of 5602 Provincial Road 202. I'm looking to sell a few vehicles out of the back shop. I work full-time for the Canadian National Railway as a diesel mechanic. I work midnight shift. I get off at 8 a.m. I put the business hours from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And I think that really threw a wrench into things with my neighbors. I'm thinking that I'm going to have people running in and out of my house during those hours. But what I meant by that was just those are the hours that I was going to allow to have people come and view cars when they wanted to between those hours. I usually sell about 1 to 3 vehicles a month. One or more of those vehicles would be a dealer-to-dealer sale, like I would buy it at the auction and sell it to a dealer and the car would never actually come to my property. Or I do a lot of buying the car at the auction, detailing it, bringing it back to the auction and reselling the vehicle. I only sell, I would say, less than 10 vehicles a year out of the shop. So that's pretty much what I'm trying to do with the property. I have, there were some photos from my neighbor of vehicles that were parked on the property. Those vehicles are all gone. I just moved in this property 4 months ago, so I had a compound built in Winnipeg where I can have the vehicles from the auction brought to, so I can keep them out of the property. Currently on the property, I only have 4 insured vehicles that can be seen and 2 trailers, and I plan to keep the vehicles that I would be selling inside the shop and sell them from inside the shop, so it wouldn't have any visuals to the neighbors or anything would change from beforehand. I have pictures of that, of the way the property looks today, and if you guys would like to take a look at them, I can disperse those.
Yeah, you can just hand them to Councillor Spicer and he'll...
Here's the pictures. The first one is the pictures of my property, and some are my neighbors' properties around my house as to what they have in their backyard. And
Anything else that you would like to add?
no, I think that's it for right now.
Jonah's my son.
Yeah, he's.
I was going to, if you just give me a minute, we can get to you. I
Sure,
will ask
sure.
if there's
Yep,
anybody else who
absolutely,
wants
yep.
to speak on the
Yep.
application, so we
Okay.
can just move it along. If you don't mind, we'll circulate those pictures,
Yep.
and if there's anything further, I'll have to call you up again.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to ask if there's anybody else in the audience who wishes to speak in favor of this application. Come on forward, please.
I'd just like to say that the way our business runs, like by saying it's a car dealer business is somewhat misleading. It's more of a car broker business. So if we were to purchase a car, and we do, I get on the phone, I phone a number of dealers that I know, and that car is sold to that dealer. So that car would never go anywhere other to its new home. If it's a car that we think is worth more money than we've been offered, the car would go from where I bought it to Canadian Tire on Regent for the safety, to the Chamois Car Wash just down the street for a cleaning, and then that car would go to Deals with Integrity, who's another dealer that sells my stuff on consignment. So that is also another car that would never come home. So it breaks down to this: 45% of the cars that we buy are sold to other dealers. They go from wherever we bought them to the new dealer. 25% of those other cars are cars that go from where we bought them to safety to cleaning to another car lot to be sold on consignment, another car that would never come to our residence. The only cars that we would have are cars that we took on trade. We give those cars 30 days to sell. If they don't, they're basically sent to the scrapyard. There's no money in hanging on to things that don't sell. And that's kind of how this business runs. I've been a dealer for 25 years. I'm a retired social worker. In our previous business, 25 years, not one complaint. So I guess that's good for me.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, is there anybody else in the audience who wishes to speak in favor of this application? Okay, I do have a couple of names on my list here. I have a Gary Gray for information. Are you in the audience? No? And Eric Workington. And I have you showing you as opposed and for info. So if you just want to come forward and make your presentation.
First off, I'm terrible at speaking in front of a crowd. That's not my thing. I'd rather sit way back. Anyways, my new neighbor, he was just out here presenting his plans. And when we received the letter, we didn't know exactly why or how, what was going to go on. And then when I'm talking with my neighbor on the other side of the applicant, Gary, he says Jonah had been talking with him about what his plans were, and we were talking about it and saying, that's good, we have no problem with that. And then a bit later, we get to read the letter of intent. And that was entirely different from what Jonah had talked to Gary about. So, as it stands, when they first moved in, he had a diesel truck that was used to bring in a whole bunch of cars. At one point, there were about 20 cars, I didn't count approximately, on the yard, and the truck was used during the night as well. And I am personally, or we are not personally as affected by that. We are a little bit further away. But Gary, who cannot be here today because he's chemo, his house is right next to the driveway that Noah would be driving up and down all the time. And so every time a vehicle goes up and down, he hears it, and the lights are shining into his house. And what his concern was is he has his patio toward the back, and if customers would be coming up the driveway looking at the vehicles, they would always go past his patio in his yard in the back there. So that was our big dilemma. So that was at the beginning, is when all this busyness happened with a loud truck, and now it's totally different. So if he actually keeps it to the way that he's doing it right now, we would be okay with that. But as the application sits right now, I would be, or we would be opposed to that.
Okay, thank you for that, and I would like a little bit of clarification too, so I am going to ask the planner. On the application, it says the applicant is seeking a conditional use approval for a home industry running a small auto business on the property. So from what the applicant has said, I don't believe that there's vehicles being kept on the property. Is that correct, or did I misunderstand?
The only one, go ahead.
There'll be vehicles inside the shop.
Inside your
Inside
shop?
the back shop, I can fit 4, at maximum 3 if I want to walk around.
Okay.
I'd just like to say about the diesel truck, Jonah works at night. So he goes to work at 11 o'clock at night. So,
Like, would that be unnecessary noise, like me going to work? Because I know that the noise, like the noise bylaw states that there's no unnecessary noise past 11 p.m., correct? I go to work at 11:30, is that considered necessary?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, that's why my truck was running at that time.
Sorry?
And I also just, and just for the record.
Unnecessary is determined by our officer when he shows up, and if you've been running a diesel truck, you go to work at 11:30, and you started at 10:30 and ran it for an hour,
Yeah.
that would be unnecessary noise, and he would deal with it.
well, that
If
would
you
be.
were just starting to warm it up for a little while to go to work,
Yeah.
that's not unnecessary.
I completely stopped driving the truck when Gary told me that. The truck is loud, it is a diesel truck, and I since have parked the truck and just started using it for pulling the trailers that I have that is necessary to pull. So I went out of my way, acquired another vehicle that is much quieter, and that's what I've been driving. And yeah, and Gary also had a complaint about the lights on my shop that have been there since the shop was built in 1987. He told me to turn them off because they were directly shining into the back of his house. It hasn't been a problem for over 30 years, but because I moved in today, it's a problem. So I turned the lights off for him. There's no lights in the yard anymore.
And I'd just like to say that there's a picture there that the previous owner of the house had several 5-ton diesel dump trucks in his yard, because that's how he made a living, and
sailboats.
Sailboats? He used to restore sailboats?
And
Yeah, go ahead.
yes, the owner had a sailboat. He had it parked there, and it never changed. It was never worked on for 20 years that we've been living there. But he has never had a number of trucks sitting on the property.
No?
That,
Maybe you want to take a look at the pictures.
Well, we have pictures of the
Maybe you want to take a
Okay,
look
I
at the
don't want
pictures.
to get into an argument here, gentlemen,
Okay.
so.
We've lived there only 20 years, so that's all I know.
Okay, and I think our CAO did want to
Just one more
say something.
clarification point, and it's with the planner. I noticed that this application doesn't indicate for any additional car storage outside, which means they would be limited to what the bylaw is for any residential property, which is maximum of 4 outside, and their intent of their application is to keep all vehicles inside. And I just wanted that for clarity because it showed, and that's where maybe some of the confusion, because you show
Yes.
a parking for up to 6 cars there.
4 cars, 2 trailers. When I talked to Tyler at the RM, he said trailers do not count. As long as they're fully insured and are on the property, it does not count as a vehicle. So that's what the other 2 parking spots are for.
That's what those parking spots are for, okay.
And we're here for a little bit of education today, because I'm not sure what the bylaws are out here. So I was hoping that, so is that 4 cars that people like Maxine would use and Jonah would use and I would drive, and he could have an additional 4 cars? Is that what that means?
Total of 4.
Total of 4.
Yeah,
In-
no, or
inside the
outside
shop.
parking.
Yeah. Okay.
Outside.
Yeah.
Okay. And whatever's in the shop is fine?
Yeah.
Correct.
You can push it there.
Yeah, we get it there somewhere.
Okay, I do not have any more names on my list, but I will ask if there is anybody else in the audience who wishes to speak on this application. I am not seeing any hands be raised, so I will ask for a resolution to come out of the conditional use board, and we'll see if we can move this one forward.
Resolved that the public hearing for conditional use 4 of 2025 be closed and the regular session of council be reconvened.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, second Councillor Bazarowicz. Any further questions, comments? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, if I could have the resolution for conditional use number 4 of 2025.
Whereas the applicant or tax roll number 410, a property legally described as lot 2, plan 20331 and located at 5602 TR 202 has made application for conditional use 4 of 2025 in or to allow a home industry, small auto business in the AR agricultural restricted zone. Therefore be it resolved, conditional use application number 4 of 2025 be approved with the following conditions. 1, conditional use is limited what has been presented in this application. Any further changes, replacement, or additions will require new approval. 2, applicant order to obtain all required businesses and/or permits of the Armstrong Clements, including but not limited to a new and renewal of a municipal business license. 3, applicant order obtains all required permits from Red River Planning District and the municipality if required. Approval shall expire if not acted upon within 12 months of the date of making.
Okay, thank you for that. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Sutherland, second. Councillor Spicer. Any comments or questions? Go ahead, Councillor Strang.
Madam Mayor, I was going to ask, were we going to put a conditional time frame on this also, like the previous one?
We could if that is the wish of council.
Well, if he doesn't comply, then we take it away.
Well, yes, but
Well,
I
we
guess
only
we
get to this, not the property, but this owner? How's that?
not
It's to
necessarily.
this application.
It's to this application. So do you want to leave it open, or do you want to put a time frame on it, is what Councillor Strang is asking?
The intent of the application was identified 10 to 6, Monday to Saturday is what we have written as intent. Is that your intent still, Monday to Saturday?
Yeah, that's when I'll allow people to come over. I just wanted to clarify that, like, we may only see like 2 to 5 people in a 30-day stretch coming. Saying 10 to 6 makes it seem like come over whenever you're ready. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how it is. Like, it's by appointment only, and I don't sell an outrageous amount of vehicles. So like, the people coming to my house is not going to be affected by neighbors at all. It'd be like having a busier family living at the house. You know, it's
80% of the cars that we buy will never ever land up at Jonah's home.
Yeah, like
the object is to sell them as quick as we can.
Yeah.
Okay, we do have a resolution on the floor. I believe we had a mover and a seconder, and if there is nothing else from council, I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, our next item, we are going to move into some variation orders. And the first variation we have is variation order 136 of 2024. And if I could have a resolution to move into the variation order, please.
Resolve the regular meeting be adjourned and public hearing be open for variation order 136 of 2024.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Horwath, second Councillor Strang. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And I will turn it over to the planner to walk us through this variation order application.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm sharing my screen, but
Yes, there you go.
Oh, good. Yeah, thank you. So we're good. So this is variance application number VO136 2024, located on 29 Sunset Cove. And purpose of that application is to increase the number of accessory buildings in order to allow for a swimming pool to be constructed in a rural residential zone. As per zoning bylaw, the number of accessory building permitted is only 2, and the proposal is for 4. Here we can see a location map of the subject property. And this is the exact location of the proposed pool, as applicant draw it on the site plan. Should council wish to approve this application, the RPD recommends the following conditions. They are standard. Variance is limited to what has been presented. Any other changes will require a new variance approval, and by applicant to obtain all required permits from us and RM. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you for that, Valentina. I do know that the applicants are on Zoom with us this evening, so Mr. and Mrs. Nunes, do you have anything that you would like to add to your application at this point in time?
You'll have to unmute.
Okay, are we there now?
There you are, thank you.
Good evening, council. No, we've already met all the requirements from Red River Planning. We've submitted a geotechnical engineering, a design engineering. We've engaged a landscape contractor to design the whole thing. From my understanding, everything has passed on the planning board's department. It's just a matter of clearing this last hurdle of the variance. And so I guess the pool is deemed, it's an in-ground pool. There are no other buildings being built. It's just strictly an in-ground pool with some landscaping. And but the pool is deemed as a structure, which is the requirement for this variance, from my understanding.
Okay, thank you for that. Do any members of council have questions for the applicant? Okay, go ahead.
Just a question, with any outdoor pools, do they have to have a fence around them? Is that part of their requirements or no?
Councillor Sutherland is asking, and I will check with our planner. It is an in-ground pool, and does it need any fencing through Red River Planning?
I will have to check that in the building code, but it's not something I'm aware of.
I think there's some new changes into the
Yes.
building code requirements that don't require fencing.
Okay, I just asking a question.
Yeah. Okay, I think we have that straightened away. It appears that there is no fencing required. I do have a few people in the audience here in the council chamber, Mr. and Mrs. Nunes, so I would like to ask if there's anybody here to speak on this application. So I will open it up. Is anybody in the audience in support of the application by the Nunes? I don't see anybody raising their hand, and I will ask, is there anybody in the audience who is opposed to this application? And again, I am not seeing any hands be raised, and if council is ready to deal with this application, I will ask for a resolution to move out of the variation board, and we'll see if we can move this forward for you.
Resolve the public hearing for variation order 136 of 2024 be closed and the regular session of council be reconvened.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Horwath, second. Councillor Sutherland. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Now, if I could have the resolution for variation order 136 of 2024.
Whereas the applicant order tax roll number 223920 legally described as Lot 3 Plan 21479 and located at 29 Sunset Cove has made application for variation order number 136 of 2024 from number of accessory dwellings 2 to number of accessory dwellings buildings 4. Purpose to increase the number of accessory structures in order to allow for a pool to be constructed on the subject property. Therefore, be it resolved variation order 136 of 2024 be approved with the following conditions. 1, this variance is limited to what has been presented in this application. Any further changes, replacement, or additions would require a new variance approval. 2, the owner obtains all required permits from Red River Planning District and the municipality if required. and the approval shall expire if not acted upon within 12 months of the date of making.
Can I have a move, please? Councillor Spicer, second, please. Councillor Strang, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. And that has been approved, Mr. and Mrs. Nunes, just so you know, in case you couldn't see what was happening here in the council chamber.
I would like to thank council for that, and we look forward to enjoying it next summer with our family.
I'm sure you will.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, the next application we have is Variation Order 3 of 2025, and that is in the name of Fiegel, and I will ask for a resolution to move into Variation Board, please.
Resolve the regular meeting be adjourned, a public hearing be open for Variation Order 3 of 2025.
Can I move it, please? Councillor Sutherland, second Councillor Bazarowicz. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. And I'm going to turn it over to the planner to walk us through this application, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this is a variance application VO 03-2025, located no exact address. We have the roll numbers here, 4510, 4710, and 5100. And the purpose of that application is to reduce lot size for the 33 proposed lot as a part of the conditions with the conditionally approved subdivision application as 23-3014 in AR agriculture restricted zone. So by the St. Clements bylaw, in AR agriculture restricted zone, there is permitted only 4 acres minimum lot size, and the proposal is to go on those 33 lots from 2 to 3.36 acres. You can see on the SAM the exact numbers too. So this is the subject property on their location map. And this is the subdivision application map from the applicant. You can see all the lots here. Should council wish to approve this application, the RRPD recommends the following conditions. This variance is limited to what has been presented. Any other changes will require new variance approval, and by applicant and owner to obtain all the required permits from us and RM. That's it that I have from here. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you for that. Any questions from council to the planner? Okay, I see the applicant is in the audience. Mr. Fiegel, would you like to come forward and say anything, or you can do it from your chair if you wish?
If I may, with council's approval, have a representative of mine speak for me?
You sure can, Mr. Fiegel.
Okay, I would like Andre here from Landmark Planning speak for me on my behalf.
You want to just come forward, Andre?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present to you tonight. So I'm here to speak in favor of the variances proposed by Mr. Fiegel. The variances are in keeping with typical current lot sizes for rural residential development, including property south of the subject property, elsewhere in the RM of St. Clements, the Red River Planning District, the Capital Region, and quite frankly, most of Manitoba, as this lot size is influenced by Manitoba on-site wastewater management regulation requirements to accommodate septic fields. Pretty straightforward in terms of what's being proposed here, as the subdivision has already been conditionally approved. And since we're only here to discuss the proposed lot sizes, I would suggest they are reasonable considering the local and regional context. And once approved, will provide additional housing options for those looking to reside in your beautiful municipality. So thanks for the opportunity to present.
Thank you very much, Andre. Council, do you have any questions for the applicant's representative? No, I think you're good. So thank you for that. Okay, is there anybody else in the audience who wishes to speak in favor of this application? I'm not seeing any hands being raised. I do have one lady who is on Zoom that is opposed. And Ms. Mrs. Conway. If you want to speak, you can unmute yourself and give us your comments.
Hello. Yeah, I guess I just have some questions. I attended the hearings, I guess they were over a year ago. We were concerned about the roads. The Wally Road is full of potholes, and in the spring it's just mush. So with all that extra traffic, not to mention the construction traffic when people start building, I don't know what state Wally is going to be in. Like, is there any plan to upgrade the road? Because it's not in good shape right now. And the other concern is about the water level. They couldn't answer that either. With all those extra wells going in, how is that going to affect the water table? People with established wells are worried about them going dry.
Okay, any comments to that, Valentina or Deepak? Do you have anything that you want to?
I think it's been covered in conditions for the subdivision. Fortunately, I cannot see it right now. Maybe I'll try to, if you'll give me a couple of minutes, I'll try to find it. And I think it's any question that's connected to condition of the roads we can address to RM. And we're not discussing it here for now. Any water issues or drainage supposed to be addressed in subdivisions. Let me see if they have something like that.
I'm sorry, I can't hear what you're saying.
Okay, let me see if I can speak to this, Valentina. So, thank you for the questions, and specifically speaking to the roads are, as Valentina mentioned, is not part of the application, but is a requirement of the RM. The RM does a road assessment on a yearly basis and determines which roads will get what level of maintenance. That level of maintenance is determined on a regular basis, and council establishes a budget on a yearly basis according to that. The Public Works will review and add gravel roads or regrade them or whatever is necessary. We've been, the RM continues to work on our road infrastructure on a yearly basis. So that's to deal with that, but that doesn't have anything to do with this specific application. What Valentina also said was that the water-related issues were addressed in the subdivision application itself, and I think it was addressed as part of the subdivision application, the capacity and the ability to be able to have wells in this location and the number of wells, and what that impact was on the water table. And I think a professional at that time spoke to it during the subdivision, but at the variance level, I'm not sure that that issue can be re-discussed. I don't know. I'm asking the planner.
No, that's not
So
the
that's,
case for today.
the variance
so.
is specifically for the size of the lots, not that. But I see that there is an expert in the audience.
Yeah, so
go ahead.
Can I clarify that? I opened the conditions for the subdivision that have been approved already, and that's the third condition that had been written that along with any requirements provided by common agencies and the administration of the RM comments have the following requirements, and we address it as a conditions also to that subdivision. Let me see the conditions. Okay, so development leaves and road leaves, taxes. Okay, an engineered drainage plan and road plan will be prepared through RM servicing standards. So it's been addressed there. And the drainage easement plan be prepared if required too. So.
Okay, Mrs. Conway, just to reiterate, as Valentina, you may not have heard everything she said, it was addressed in the subdivision application approval regarding the wells. So if you go back on our minutes, you can see what was in that resolution.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to speak in opposition to these variation orders?
One more person.
Do you want to come forward and state your name for the record, please?
Craig Henderson, 243 Church Road South, Narrow, R1C0G2. I say that in full because unfortunately I didn't make it in time to get my name on the list. So I'd like you to have that so that I get the notice.
As long as we have your name, you'll get the notice.
All right, so it says both in the variance and in the Planning Act that the decision on variations just a second, sorry. Sorry for my delay. I thought I had this all queued up. It'll just take me 1 minute.
That's okay.
Okay, so it essentially says in the Planning Act, as it says in the variance order, that the decision will be compatible with the general nature of the surrounding area, will not be detrimental to the health or general welfare of people living or working in the area, or affect the other property, but more importantly, now here it is generally consistent with the applicable provisions of the development plan, the zoning bylaw, and any secondary bylaw. And it is to that point that I will be speaking, that it is not consistent with the development plan. So the allowance to subdivide to 2 acres in the AR area of South St. Clements is contained in section 4.2.11. That is where the allowance is to do that. Now, the RRPD and the council tried back in 2013 to get a bylaw passed into the development plan saying you could subdivide all of South St. Clements down to 2 acres. You were told no, and you were given this. When you reapplied for the second bylaw, this finally was put into the development plan. So it seems to be apparent that the province of Manitoba has not gone, yes, all of South St. Clements can be subdivided to 2 acres, as seems to be the current practice. Now, as far as lack of compliance, in 4.211, it says that lots should generally be a minimum of 4 acres in size, or rather land division which create parcels smaller than 4 acres of site should not be permitted except as permitted herein. Meaning this is the rules. So, first of all, we have every section from the following section all the way through to 4.2.11.1.6. So we have got a total of 7 sections. Every single one of those sections says infill lots are developed. This is not infill. This is 82 acres of agricultural land. This is a greenfield development. I don't see how you think this is infield. It is not similar. It is not between any houses. I mean, this is simply not infill in any way. This is a greenfield development. Those are 2 very clear concepts that the planner would be aware of. This is not infill, period. Second, the proposed infill lots must be located on an existing public roadway. No. The planner, in the analysis section, Mr. Femi Ojo and Mr. Andrew Friesen came up with this, some kind of wild idea that you could create existing lots in steps to comply with the development plan. That's written right into S233014 subdivision. Wow, do they have a time machine? How is it that you create existing lots? Is there anybody here that can create anything existing? No, because existing is the present tense. What's more, the planner, and all of you who deal with planning law, should know well that the date the law is passed into effect is the date from which something must be existing. It must have already been filed with the Land Titles Office. It must already exist at the date the law is enacted, or it is not existing under the law. That is a fact. I have that from a planner, I have that from a lawyer. Period. Like, it's that simple. So you can't create existing properties that somehow comply with the law. Okay, so moving along to the next section. Proposed infill lots must be of a size that reflects the established size and character of existing lots found along the same existing public roadway. Again, not on 40% of the lots are on an existing roadway. What? Well, that doesn't comply. That's ridiculous. Okay, so we have, what are we? So we have 1, 2, 3 so far that we don't comply with at all. Like, not a bit. Okay. Then proposed lots may be located, and by the way, I must point out, must. Both those sections say must. Do you understand what that means in planning law? It means you must comply. Okay, pretty clear. I mean, it's English language. Proposed infill lots may be located or as an extension of an existing group of non-farm residential lots and should be separated from existing lots by no more than 100 meters, 328 feet, on the same side of the existing developed public roadway. There are no lots except that one, the 3 existing lots that are going to be rolled into the 82-acre lot to create this subdivision. There are no existing lots, none. And you can't create existing lots. This was passed into law back in 2016. Anything since 2016 had to be existing at that time. I mean, if you didn't have that, think about this. What about grandfather? Oh, can I build another building on my property without getting a permit? No, because you passed a law in my area saying you can only have 2 accessory buildings. Why? Well, because the one I want to build isn't existing. Isn't that amazing? If I could just create an existing building there and comply. Like, the whole thing falls apart. It's ridiculous that you can create an existing lot. Also, there are no lots on the same side of the existing developed public roadway, not within 100 meters, not anywhere. Interestingly enough, all of these things were brought up by previous planners as reasons to refuse subdivisions, and told they suggested not compliance.
I'm going to stop you,
Yes?
because what you are arguing about and what you are trying to tell us that we've done incorrectly was approved, and there was no one at that time that said that it couldn't be done. It has been approved. The subdivision, you're talking what was subdivided. The subdivision was approved. We are only talking today about the variation orders.
Yes, and the entire subdivision does not comply, which is what you are putting through the variation order for, to create 2-acre lots. And I'm talking about the creation of 2-acre lots.
Sir, I think the mayor has made it very clear for you that the subdivision that came forward went through a public hearing process, went through the process that's been identified by the act that you're quoting, went forward from the RM where it was approved, went to the Red River Planning District Board, was approved, went to the province of Manitoba, who has stamped it approved, and now it's moving forward to a variation. I appreciate that you may not agree with it, and you will have your valid points that you'd like to make, but they are not valid for a variation public hearing. That's the point.
Okay, so I disagree, because these lots are being created
I appreciate
for this subdivision.
Sir, I appreciate that you disagree. This is not a debate. This is the point that is not something that you can bring forward at a variation.
Okay, then I will bring forward something specific about the variation. The variation has to comply with the development plan. The subdivision doesn't comply with the development plan, and the 2-acre lots being created from it do not comply with the development plan. Because there is
It's a circular argument again, sir. You've already said, if you think that the variation doesn't comply with the development plan, fine. You can make that argument.
Okay, it does not comply with the development plan.
Do not make that argument about the subdivision, because subdivision has already been approved.
Okay. The variation order is not in compliance because of all of these reasons of the development plan.
Understood.
Okay? All right, I will start again. So, it is not allowed because of the fact that these are not infill lots. That's part of the development plan, correct? Yeah. And the variation order...
Greg, I do not want you to start from the beginning again. You said your piece.
Okay, well, I'll continue to see my piece from where I left off then. Okay, the configuration of the proposed infill lot should not impede or potential for conservation of subdivision design and development. Well, if this vary it down to 2 acre lots, you have absolutely toasted any chance of this 82 acres becoming a conservation development. I mean, it says right here, you know, the configuration of proposed lot should not impede or lessen potential for conservation, subdivision, or design or development. Yes, it does. It does impede it. You're never going to be able to put that there, so it's impeded.
So if the applicant had to come forward with the conservation subdivision, council would have considered it. That is not what he came forward with.
I'm not talking about what the applicant came forward with. I'm talking with the variation order not complying with the development plan.
Okay, I'll let you finish and we'll move on.
Be very clear, this is all about the variation order not complying with the development plan. So, furthermore, the 7 sections here, the only thing this thing complies with is the lots are large enough to have a septic field. It's 2 acres. The second thing they comply with is that it is using the roads as planned. That's 2 things. Half of, because each of those things says it's infill, has to be infill, and it's not infill. You're approving lots that are not infill. Make that clear. And furthermore, just in section 4.2.c policy for the AR, to discourage land use practices to render agricultural land less productive or have an inflating effect on land inflation or taxation. Yeah, that does this. As soon as you subdivide it, it becomes more valuable. That's why they're doing it.
We're not talking about subdivision, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm talking about variation. And this variation is part of the subdivision, and by varying it down to 2 acres, you are inflating the value. You are inflating the value because everybody knows a lot is a lot is a lot, and if it's 4 acres or if it's 2 acres in this area, it's pretty much the same price because it's a unit upon which you can build a house. So, for all of those reasons, my statement is that the variation order does not comply with the subdivision for all, with the development plan for all of the reasons that I have stated. Further, I wanted to comment on, just for a moment on the water thing that you brought up, and a lot of people are concerned about it. What you have is you have people like Friesen Drillers telling you, yes, there's lots of water there. You have a drinking water plan in the RRPD because you don't know the capacity of the aquifer. And it continues like that. All the drillers are telling you, yeah, we can poke a hole there and there's lots. Mr. Friesen, the fellow from Friesen Drillers, told us that no, we don't know the capacity. As I'm saying, no, we don't know the capacity. There were a number of studies done back through the 70s and 80s by a number of people at the University of Manitoba that pretty much set the entire area of the capital region's capacity for supplying groundwater at about 85,000 homes. And I think we're getting pretty close to that. You consider all the way around Winnipeg, south, north, east, west in this area. We all get our water from the same place. No one has looked at the capacity. On that basis, I object to development without knowing the water's there, because you don't know the water's there. You just have a driller telling you, hey, I can poke a hole here and get some water, but he can't tell you that if he pokes a hole here and gets some water, that over there a mile where the water table's higher that you're going to go dry. He's not making that statement. Nobody's made that statement, and there is no capacity. I know
Can
it
you
doesn't apply.
speak to the variations, please?
Yes. I am expressing it because this is a very broad opinion, and I think somebody has to speak to this, because when that subdivision got passed, the vast majority of adjacent residents objected, yet you passed it anyways. So you haven't given any consideration at all to adjacent residents. I mean, we're not talking, we're talking like somewhere around 85–90% of all adjacent residents came here and objected, and yet you allowed it. Anyways, that's what I got to say. It doesn't comply with the development plan. The variation order does not comply with the development plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, is there anybody else in the audience who wishes to speak on this application? Would the applicant like to have any closing comments at this time?
None at this time.
Okay.
Not at this time.
Thank you. I will then ask for a resolution to come out of the variation board, please.
Resolved that the public hearing for variation order 3 of 2025 be closed and the regular session of council be reconvened.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Spicer moves, Councillor Bazarovic seconds. All in favor? And if I can bring the resolution forward for these variations, please.
Whereas applicant owner of tax roll number 4510, 4710, and 5100 legally described as parcels C, D, E, and F, Plan 72113, and located at Wally Road, has made application for variation order number 3 of 2025 from site area 4 acres minimum to site area proposed lots 1, 5, and 18 to 21 for 2 acres, proposed lot 4 to 2.01 acres, proposed lot 33 to 2.02 acres, proposed lot 32 to 2.03 acres, proposed lot 2 to 2.04 acres, proposed lot 3 to 2.09 acres, proposed lot 8 to 2.26 acres, proposed lots 10 to 17 and 22 to 31, 2.57 acres, proposed lot 7 to 2.58 acres, proposed lot 6 to 2.67 acres, proposed lot 9 to 3.36 acres, purpose to reduce the site area of all 33 proposed lots as part of the conditions within the conditionally approved subdivision application S23-3014. Therefore, be it resolved, variation order 3 of 2025 be approved with the following conditions. This variance is limited to what has been presented in this application. Any further changes, replacement, or additions would require new variance approval. 2, applicant owner obtains all required permits from the Red River Planning District and the municipality if required. Approval shall expire if not acted upon within 12 months of the date of making.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Boulanger, second, please. Councillor Horbis. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Moving on, we are down to variation number 4 of 2025 on Reconciliation Road, and if I could have a resolution to move into the variation board.
Resolved that the regular meeting be adjourned and public hearing be open for variation 4, order 4 of 2025.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, Councillor Sutherland seconds. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, if you want to go ahead, Valentina, with the application for 4 of 2025.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. There. So this is a variance application 04/2025 located on 84-144 Reconciliation Road. And the purpose of that application is to construct a garden suite with a permanent foundation in AA Agricultural General Zone. As for, it is permitted as a temporary foundation in St. Clements bylaw, and proposed is permanent. And here we have a location map of the subject property, and also site plan from the applicant with the exact location of the proposed garden suite. And this is the applicant site for space here for the suite itself. And should council wish to approve this application, the RPD recommends the following conditions. This variance is limited to what has been presented. Any other changes will require new approval by applicant to obtain all required permits from us and RM if required, and by applicant to obtain a lot grade permit for the proposed garden suite from RM of St. Clements. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you for that, Valentina. Okay, is the applicant in the audience this evening? Do you have anything that you want to add to your application at this point?
Nothing more that was other than in the letter of intent.
Okay.
I just want to make it clear that, regardless of the foundation we put, we're looking to get away from the pad and post and to go to something more stable, something that's been proven with our climate to reduce the chance of any headaches in the future. At the end of the day, the garden suite can still be upped and moved if need be. It's just more work on my end and money to clean the site up to make it look like nothing was there. So.
Okay, do any members of council have questions for the applicant? Go ahead, Councillor
Sorry,
Belanger.
not for the applicant, just a comment.
Okay.
We've been looking at this for a while. I'll be asking administration in the future to look at our bylaw that we can perhaps make it not so restrictive. So it's just a comment I'm making that it's something that I want to see looked at, so I have no issue with it.
Councillor Sutherland, did you have something that you wanted to say?
No, I wanted to know the size, I see it now. Thank
Okay,
you.
so you're good?
Yeah.
Okay, and I just will kind of say a little more to Councillor Belanger's comment. We are looking at doing some changes to our bylaws, and they need to be updated. Our zoning bylaw hasn't been updated for quite some time. So I think once we get those wheels in motion, you'll see that there will be some changes to the zoning bylaw, but that's not for today. Today we're dealing with this application, so. Is there anybody else in the audience who wants to speak on this application? Is there anybody in the audience who wants to speak opposing this application? With that, I don't see any hands being raised. With that, I will ask our administrator to bring us out of the variation board, and we will see if we can move this one forward.
Resolved that the public hearing for variation order, is it 4? Am I on 4?
Yeah, 4/2025.
2025 be closed in the regular session of council be reconvened.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Horwath seconds. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor, opposed, carried. Okay, and if you want to bring the resolution for the variation forward, please.
Whereas the applicant, owner of tax roll number 513600 legally described as Northeast 6-15-6E and located at 84144 Reconciliation Road, has made application for variation order number 4 of 2025 from Garden Suite Foundation temporary garden suite foundation permanent purpose to construct a garden suite with a permanent foundation on the subject property. Therefore, be it resolved, variation order 4 of 2025 be approved with the following conditions. The variance is limited to what has been presented in this application. Any further changes, replacement, or additions would require a new variance approval. 2, applicant owner obtains all required permits from the Red River Planning District and the municipality of Proposal. 3, the applicant owner obtains a lot grade permit for the proposed garden suite from the Arm of St. Clements. Approval shall expire if not acted upon within 12 months of the designation.
Okay, can I have a mover, please? Councillor Sutherland, second, please. Councillor Belanger. Any further discussion on this application? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, we are moving now. We have one subdivision, and then we have a couple of combined variances and subdivisions. So our subdivision that we have coming up is S24-3081, 38054, Road 101 North. And Valentina, if you could bring that one forward for us. Oh, we have to go into a subdivision board, please.
Resolved that the regular meeting be adjourned, a public hearing be open for S24-3081.
Mover, please. Councillor Strang, Councillor Horwath seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Now, Valentina, if you could go ahead with that one, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, so this is subdivision application S24-3081, located on 3380-54 Road in 101 North in St. Clements. And the purpose of that application is to create 4 additional lots in the recreation tourism zone. Here's the allocation map that you can see. And this is the and subdivision application map with three additional lots and one residual. All they call proposed here. So as you can see, after our research, all of the lots are in compliance to the zoning bylaw with widths and side areas too. Our notes of the RPD here, so it's while operation using the land is permitted zoning bylaw, St. Clements, there are no policies that would support the subdivision of the lot to less than 80 acres size within the designated area, and Manitoba Agriculture recommended that land will be redesignated to an appropriate designation prior to that subdivision to ensure compliance with development plan. And Manitoba High will require easements, no concerns by any other agencies. So RPD recommends that application will be rejected strictly to the policy for sure. But still, however, if council wish to approve the application, RPD recommends the following conditions. Applicant owner submits application in writing to the RM that taxes been paid, require applicant fees to be paid, provide a digital copy of the plan, by applicant to prepare an engineered drainage plan to be submitted to RM, and the applicant submits written confirmation to Manitoba Hydro as they require an easement. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you for that, Valentina. Any questions to the planner from members of council? Go ahead, Councillor Boulanger.
I notice conservation didn't have any comments, but would these lots not need a holding tank because they're not 2 acres? Although conservation doesn't say anything, it just says no comments.
Yeah, we haven't got any comments from them.
Just a question.
Yeah, I would think that they do need to have holding tanks if they're less than 2 acres, so.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
So just so I'm clear, everything's in compliance with the zoning bylaw. Correct? It's the development plan that doesn't support subdivisions of a lot less than 80 acres.
Yeah, because of the designation.
Even though it's only 7.44 acres. Okay, thanks.
Okay, anybody else? Go ahead, Councillor Horvis.
So this is kind of a beach area, there's no really farming in there anyway, so it's more for cottagers or whatever, so.
Yeah, this is one, right?
Yeah, yeah, so I mean, it's not as if it would be agricultural.
Okay, any other questions to the planner from council? Go ahead, Councillor Strang.
Just to let you know, 5.0 services and infrastructure, it already has about holding tanks. And that
Yeah, it's
follows
there.
holding tanks.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
And individual wells.
Okay, I see the applicant is in the audience. Did you have anything that you wanted to add to your application, Mr. Haddocken?
Well, I guess it's, I'm trying to get closer to the lake, and it took me 38 years to get there. It's the first year I paid taxes to you guys.
You want to just come forward, please, Lawrence?
Well, just to start from day one, I went to the Red River Planning Board before I bought the land. And I asked the questions, how it was owned, and this and that. And my information came that there wasn't an issue, it was residential, it was cottage land, like you say. So the information I got, if you buy the 7 acres, you should be able to split it up into 4 lots. We have to meet the 200 feet or whatever. And that's why we went ahead and did it. And now it seems like there's another agricultural thing that kind of, I wasn't aware of that popped up. So I don't know the rules, I don't know the laws, so like, I mean, we have to table the decision, or should we carry on? You guys tell me what to do, I don't know. I'm kind of lost. And kind of the intent is, like, she's a partner of mine, I mean, she wants to keep a lot there for her daughter. And if I don't get anything else done, I wanna keep one too, and we wanted to sell 2 of the lots, so that's kind of the plan. So I don't know what else I can say, but,
Yeah, I'm gonna ask council, do you want to move forward with this? Like, it has been brought forward, and although it does say that the land be redesignated, but because, I guess I have a bit of difficulty because our zoning bylaw and our development plan are outdated, and to hold some of these up, I'm not sure when those 2 documents will be completed, so we are trying to move things forward where we can, so. Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
I hate to do this to staff, but process-wise, so if council decided to pass this with conditions, it's still gotta go to the province for approval, correct? As well as the planning board.
Correct.
Yeah.
So either one of them could reject it. And typically, whatever we pass should be in line with the development plan, correct?
Typically, correct.
I notice in the stipulations of approval, it doesn't talk about changing the designation at all. Is there a reason for that?
Sorry?
Well, it says that the designation doesn't meet the development plan, but then if you go for the recommended conditions, I don't see anything that speaks to that. Is there a reason?
Can I answer that one?
The recommendation is only recommendation, and we recommend what we recommend, but for now, it comes with the compliance with the zoning bylaw. So,
Let me see if I can attempt to answer this.
I know it wasn't gonna be easy, sorry.
So, the development plan is written with general policy guidelines for general areas like agriculture restricted or where they may need to be 80 acres. That doesn't always equate to what is actually there in the field. So as an example, this lot is not allowed to be smaller than 80 acres. But in fact, it's already 7 acres, so it's already below 80 acres. So no matter what you did, it would never meet the requirements. It existed in that situation from the beginning, so that what they had was a non-conforming right to be a 7-acre lot in an 80-acre area. But within the zoning, it's allowed. So these types of situations is where they come forward to a council in a public hearing process, where council then evaluates and looks at the specific circumstances of those properties and makes the best educated decision with hopefully supporting language that can then be put forward to the board, the district board, as to the reason why they approved it, and to the province as to the reason, so that they understand the rationale.
Go ahead, Councillor Boulanger.
I have no problem moving this issue, as long as the applicant knows that if it is delayed, it could, cost more money and hold up things. We don't know when we're doing our development plan. As long as the applicant knows that if we approve this tonight, as Councillor Spicer said, it could still get defeated by the planning board in the province. If that's the risk you're willing to take, I'm willing to move this forward. Just wanted to make that comment.
Go ahead, Councillor Vasilevich.
Also, I noticed in the application, like we're talking about zoning and the 80 acres non-conforming down to 7. Is this not on the application called recreational tourism?
I don't think so.
It is.
It's the zone.
It is within.
It's the
So if
zone.
it's in a recreational tourism zone, what is that going to be?
well, that's my whole point, I was never told, all of a sudden. it popped
Because
up.
there's a development plan. Let me see if I can bring this up on the screen.
Actually,
for
There's
council.
15 acres I own right next to it is under recreational too. And there's no ag on that, if I checked it correctly. You know, like, and it's across the fence, so there's something here that's not quite.
Open up the layer,
It
okay.
almost looks like somebody had 90 acres and split the southern off, and kept the 80, the homestead thing, eh? That's what it looks like to me. And I think Rob always says this too, this land here that's unfarmable or whatever, that should be brought in those.
This is the property here on the map.
Can't farm sand.
Well, that
38054
right,
Road
I mean,
101 North.
I mean, the gravel was there years ago, was taken for 59 highway in the early 60s. So I mean, there's pockets of sand left over, but it's all wasteland, so.
So
that
when you
whole
take a
bit
look
should
at,
be actually something, you know.
Lawrence, I think Deepak has the map up on the
so
screen there.
when you take a look at the zoning is blue, recreation tourism. Okay, so,
So the 15 acres that's right there, that triangle is mine, and it's zoned recreation. And it's,
Everything here is recreational.
yeah,
We're
but
talking
that-
about designation, it's something else.
yeah, but
this
it's
is
got
the,
no-
this
got
is,
no agriculture.
yeah,
that they won't
if you hang on a second. So what this has is the zoning that identifies it as RT. When we change that zoning to development plan, you see the change. So that's where it's agricultural restricted on the development plan. So generally speaking, the development plan is at the highest level. Well, the Planning Act is the highest level,
Yeah.
but the development plan is the highest level at the RM.
Covers
the
the whole
district.
district.
And so, within the development plan, then what you have is secondary plans and zoning. So zoning should be consistent with the development plan. In this case, there is inconsistency. So what it's saying is, as recreation tourism, you're allowed to have all the zoning rights to have recreation tourism. And the recreation tourism in the zoning bylaw has certain size of lots. But the development plan says anything that's in this light brown cannot be subdivided smaller than 80 acres. That's where the conflict is, and that's where the discussion happens with council. And so,
It's already
but
settled.
as an example, this next lot is 52 acres. It's also already below the 80 acres. There's a next lot. And so the way that they've said is that recreation tourism in here, what's existing is allowed, others have to come forward to council, and each application is reviewed on its own individual merits. And so your application for this lot here, to turn that into 7 acres to 4 2-acre lots, approximately, is allowed under the zoning bylaw, but conflicts against the development plan. So on a policy level, they're going to say no. Council will review and listen to it and make a decision, but there are 2 more levels of checks and balances, like you heard some discussion about a previous subdivision. Even when council makes a decision, there's always checks and balances at 2 more levels to verify that council has made the right decision. They're just letting you know that there are 2 other levels where the recommendation from Red River Planning is no, and council, if they approve it, will go forward, and then there may be a slight chance that they'll get refused. It's
So if
a
there's
good chance they
cost
may
of
not.
that, do I have to pay more costs on that, or you guys cover that, that's all covered up with?
Which costs?
Well, like, you said it has 2 more levels, like.
Those 2 levels are all part of this application process.
So if there's no paperwork, then I have to cover that.
No, I would recommend that you show up those public hearings or those meetings to make sure your feelings are heard. I don't think you can present again,
No,
so you can listen to the discussion. So it'll go to the Red River Planning District Board meeting. That meets on a monthly basis, and they'll review this, the recommendations of council, and then they'll look at the recommendations from Red River, and then they'll make a decision. So it's a board of 9. A board of 9 representing the 5 municipalities that are part of the district. Once they approve it or deny it. If they deny it, it dies there. If they approve it, then it goes up to the province, and the province does a ministerial review. Now, generally speaking, I can't speak to, and I can't say that the province will or not. All I can go by is what's happened in the past. So in the past, usually if a council, the local area council, which is a long-standing discussion and point that happens, when local area councillors are allowed to make certain decisions, usually the upper level governments don't try to overrule that as much as possible, unless it's very flagrant or very, very adamantly argued against. And in this case, Red River has said no because of a policy basis,
It's true.
but
typical
there has been no other
recommendations.
government agencies that are arguing against it. So that's information we can tell you, but what Councillor Belanger has told you is that it is your decision. If you wait, it'll cost you more money maybe.
Well, I'm willing to read it. I still want to.
If you're willing to go forward, you mean?
Exactly.
Okay.
Go ahead, Rob.
Just so the applicant knows, we have 2 members from this council, as other councils do, who sit on the planning board. So when this application comes forward, they, if so choose, can speak to this application. You're more than welcome to attend that meeting and listen, but we have representatives from here that would be at planning that would speak to this application, just so you know.
And give their reasoning why they approved it or denied it.
Yeah, and support it at planning, if it goes through tonight.
Is there more that you wanted to add, Sue?
I would just add a few comments, and that is, if you look at the comments from agriculture, they already state that the parcel is of not notable size, and therefore they're not in opposition of it. However, they're in opposition to the designation of the development plan. The other thing I do know about this property is there's history. It was subdivided out for an old schoolyard. I believe that building still stands, and that's the reason why it is the size that it is, so.
That's right. Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
And for clarification, there are no comments from provincial planning here?
No.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, do you have anything else you want to add, Lawrence?
Well, you guys have a busy night here, so I wasn't going to talk about something else. Let's leave it for next time around.
But you want us to deal with this evening, do you not? You don't want us to hold it until our next meeting?
Are you making a decision on it, or?
Yeah.
Well, no, I understand you guys can make a decision, there's got 2 more steps, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. so
Yeah,
that-
okay, so we'll move it forward then if that's the wish of council.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, but before we do that, I have to see if there's anybody else in the audience who wishes to speak on this application, for the application, against the application. I will ask for a resolution to come out of the subdivision.
Resolved that the public hearing for S24-3081 be closed, the regular session of council be reconvened.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, Councillor Spicer seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And I'd like to have a resolution for the subdivision, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Regarding subdivision application number S24-3081, proposal of Hattikin to subdivide Lot 9, Block 2, Plan 16413, resolve that council approve the said application subject to the following conditions. 1, applicant owner submits confirmation from the municipality stating that A, taxes on the lands to be subdivided for the current year and any arrears have been paid. B, required applicable fees to be paid as per bylaw 8.3. C, provide a digital copy of the plan of subdivision to the Arm of St. Clements. D, applicant owner prepare an engineered drainage plan to be submitted to the Arm of St. Clements for review and acceptance as per servicing standards of the municipality. Applicant owner to provide a letter of credit to the municipality prior to drainage construction, amount to be determined. 2, applicant owner submits written confirmation from Manitoba Hydro that easement agreements have been entered into with Manitoba Hydro with respect to existing and future facilities associated with the subdivision, and a plan of the easement as required in the Real Property Act has been provided. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you for that. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Hortons, Councillor Strang seconds. Any further discussion on this application? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, we have a couple of more applications this evening, and they are combined variances and subdivisions, so it's kind of a two-part process. So what we'll have to do is, we can listen to the subdivision application first, not make the decision, move into variation board. No,
Yeah,
that's
move
not
into
right.
variation board, because you'd open the hearing of the variation board, listen to the variation board.
Right.
Then you have to go back and make the decision on the subdivision before the zone rezone.
Right. Okay? Okay, so the next one we have is subdivision S 243073 and variation 1 of 2025 in the name of Kowalik and Zerbrig. So if you want to walk us through that one.
For sure. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this is subdivision application S 243073, located on 41068 Road 88 North, and proposals to create a new 10-acre lot and residual more than 80 acres lot in a yeah, it's 88 zone. So here we can see the location, a location map of the subject property. And this is the application, a subdivision map from the applicant. As you can see, the lot is huge, and the applicant proposed to subdivide the location of the dwelling and all around it. So by zoning bylaw, proposed lots that's supposed to be under
Excuse me.
on the 80 acres, it's supposed to be 300 feet width. So the proposed side area and width of the lot number 1 is 10 acres and 523 feet. It's not in compliance with the side area, but it is with in compliance with the site width. And the second lot, we have not got any details from the surveyor about the exact area or width, so we just can see that it's clearly more than 80. That's why we wrote it as it is. And if the council wishes to approve this subdivision, variance approval will be required to bring the proposal lot number 1 into compliance, and hence the application of the variance that we will hear today too. So our notes are strictly to the policy. The proposed subdivision application does not align with general intent of resort and agriculture policies of the RPD development plan. The proposed lot does not comply with the accurate requirements of A80 zone in our and Clement zoning bylaw 2. Whatever further variance will be required. No measurements of the residual lot we haven't got. I mentioned that before. So strictly to the policy, RPD recommends that the application be rejected. However, if council wishes to approve this application, RPD recommends the following conditions: that applicant submits confirmation in writing from the municipality that taxes on the land to be subdivided for the current year in any areas have been paid, required applicable fees to be paid as per bylaw, provide a digital copy, and by applicant in order to submit a written confirmation from Manitoba Hydro about the easement. And of course, the applicant owner obtains all required variances from our RPD. Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is all there. You know what, just a second, we have a comment here too. Just for the council's information, there are 2 scenarios that might be here that will adhere to the policy in that case of the subdivision. Should late farmer wish to subdivide the land upon his retirement, it would comply, or should siblings for the future cultivate and subdivided land as upon the retirement, it would be in compliance too. So from all said above, the application comes to the spirit of the policy 4.114.1 as a resigned farmer that might suit the development plan. That's it.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, go right ahead.
Just for clarification, Valentina, what you're saying is on a technical level, the applicant is not retiring, and that's why
Yeah.
they're not getting
But-
the approval from RPD, because in the spirit of the legislation is that the applicant needs to retire
Mhm.
or pass it on to someone else, and they're just
Exactly.
doing the subdivision. And so that's where council can review it.
Go ahead, Councillor Boulanger.
Again, this is another one of those archaic policies that I have big problems with. I understand planning is following the policies, I get that. We have 156 acres of open land, someone is trying to subdivide off 10 acres. Simple, should be clean, I understand the policies. We have comments from America Agriculture that are saying they have no issues with it. In fact, I'll read it, it says, the proposed subdivision resides within a designated resource and agriculture policy and under river planning. The proposed subdivision may be given consideration under policy 4.11, 4.1. So I'm just making the comment that I have no problem moving this forward. It's frustrating. I find these archaic policies just frustrating when you have this big piece of land and somebody just wants to subdivide off 10 acres, but because the person is retiring, it's being rejected. So I understand that, but I have no problem moving it forward. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Boulanger. Go ahead, Councillor Horvis.
Yeah, I know the property, I know the people, I know the situation. They moved back home after their parents passed away, and then now they just want to keep the homestead and live there, so I have no problem with this either.
This was exactly what mentioned in the letter of intent. They were super
Okay,
straight with
so
that.
The technicality issue here is that they can't possibly retire because the
They're too
original
young.
owner passed away.
Yeah, that's the issue.
Yeah.
You need
So,
10 acres.
are we gonna do the variation and the presentation for Valentina, or should I call the applicant?
Well, you can't bring, see, just for the rest of, since we have a large crowd here, to explain why this is happening like this, so that we can explain this. You just went through a major variation where there was a variation and a subdivision that occurred earlier. The subdivision was a public hearing, and then as part of the requirement of the subdivision, there was a variation that was needed. So the variation was what the debate was about. In this case, when we have two lot splits, by legislation, they don't need a public hearing. So sometimes residents have complained to council that because there was no public hearing, no one's able to speak to it. And then when the variation came, they came to speak to it and they didn't have a chance to have any comments. So now council has requested from Red River to bundle those two together. So because of that, council will not make a decision on the subdivision, listen to the variation, because of the variation, you can have a public hearing, listen to anybody that has any comments. If there's no comments, they'll go back and approve the subdivision and then the variation. Okay? So we're going to now put this on hold while we go into the open for the variation.
Okay, so you'll have to move us into variation, Lord.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And resolved that the regular meeting be adjourned and the public hearing be open for variation order 1 of 2025.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Boulanger, Councillor Strang, seconds. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, Valentina, if you could just walk us through the variation on this one,
For
please.
sure. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this is a variance application number 001-2025, located on 41068 Road, 8 AM North. And the purpose of that application is to reduce lot size of the proposed lot in number 1, proposed lot of 10 acres to bring into compliance with the zoning bylaw as a result of the subdivision S243073 in A80 zone. So, as a written zoning bylaw, it's supposed to be 80 acres and proposed 10. This is the zoning map that we saw today, and this is the same application map. So we have two standard conditions should council wish to approve this application. That variance will be limited to what has been presented. Any other changes will require a new variance. And by applicant to obtain all required permits from us and RM. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you for that. Any questions to the planner from members of council? Not hearing any. So I'm going to now ask if the applicant is in the audience, if they have anything that they would like to add to this application.
Hi, I'm Paul Zerbrug. I'm representing Richard Kowalik, who's the actual owner of the property. That's my brother-in-law. What has happened with this is it's a, as you saw before, a fairly large parcel of land. It is leased out currently and farmed, but we would like to subdivide so that he got the larger parcel in the will and inheritance. He is giving the 10-acre section to his sibling, which is Marcy Kowalik, so that we can live there. We came from the Lower Mainland in BC to look after both parents. She spent the last 8 years here looking after them until their passing. She grew up on that property. It is a homestead from 1934, and we're just going to keep it in the family and live there. That's going to be our retirement.
Okay, any questions to the applicant from council? Okay, I think that's all we need for now.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else in the audience who wishes to speak on this application? Okay, I think we can close the variation.
Close the variation. Resolved that the public hearing for variation order 1 of 2025 be closed and the regular session of council be reconvened.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Sutherland, Councillor Bazarowicz seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. So now we're going to go to the subdivision first.
Regarding subdivision application S24-3073, proposal to call it to subdivide northwest 24-15-7E. Resolved that the council approve the said application subject to the following conditions. Applicant owner submits confirmation in writing with the municipality from the municipality that A, taxes on lands to be subdivided for the current year and any arrears have been paid. B, required applicable fees to be paid as per bylaw 8 of 2023. C, provide a digital copy of the plan of subdivision to the RMC commence. 2, applicant owner submits written confirmation from Manitoba Hydro that the easement agreements have been entered into with Manitoba Hydro with respect to existing and or future facilities associated with the subdivision, and a plan of easement as required in the Real Property Act has been provided. And 3, applicant owner obtains all required variances from RRPD.
Thank you for that. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Sutherland, Councillor Boulanger seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. And we will move on to the variation.
So whereas the applicant owner of tax roll number 602500 legally described as Northwest 24-15-70 located at 41068 Road 88 North has been made application for variation order number 1 of 2025 from site area 80 acres to site area proposed lot 10 acres. Purpose to reduce the size of the proposed lot in order to bring the site area to compliance as a result of the subdivision application S24-3073. Therefore, be a resolved variation order 1 of 2025 be approved with the following conditions. 1, the variance is limited to what has been presented in the application. Any further changes, replacements, or additions would require new variance approval. 2, applicant owner obtains all required permits from Red River Planning District and the municipality required. Approval shall expire if not acted upon within 12 months of the date of making.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, second. Councillor Spicer. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, we are getting closer to the end, and I would like to thank everybody for their patience this evening. We'll move on to subdivision file S34-3076 and variation order 100 of 2024 in the name of Levin. So if you want to move us into...
No public hearing.
Oh, right. No public hearing on the subdivision. So please present on the subdivision.
We're gonna combine those two.
Same way.
Same way, yeah.
Okay, so this is subdivision application S24-3076 located on 79014 St. Peters Road. and proposals to create one additional lot in 15.0 acres lot and residual of 14.05 acres lot in AR zone. Here we can see the lot is being subdivided by the creek, but will be consolidated to the main property. And here we can see it as a consolidation, that lot being proposed and going to be together, but those two will be subdivided. Okay, so with the zoning bylaw, two proposed lots are in compliance with the site area, but the residual lot is not in compliance with the site width, hence will be the variance that we will hear today too. And our notes here that proposed lot does not comply with the site width requirements of the ARI zone, that's the variance will be required, but does align with the general intent of 4.311 policy in resource and agriculture designation development plan. There is no concerns of any other agencies, and either will require easement. So the RPD recommends that application will be approved with the conditions. And the conditions are that by applicant to submit confirmation in writing from municipality stating that taxes on the land to be subdivided of the current year and any areas have been paid, required applicable fees to be paid to, provide a digital copy of the subdivision plan, and by owner and applicant may prepare a drainage plan to be submitted to RM2. And then Manitoba Hydro will require an easement, and that will have to go with an easement for the hydro, and by applicant to obtain the required variance that needed for the lot size. And applicant owner brings the 4 accessory buildings into zoning compliance. For now, as we can see on the map, and it's on the detail side of the map, there are 4 accessory buildings that too close to the water line, and we asked the applicant to remove them or to move them accordingly to the zoning bylaw that they have to be moved, if I'm not mistaken, 15 feet. So this will be as one of the conditions too. So by applicant to bring in compliance or to remove those 4 accessory buildings that too close for now for the property line, and any permits may be required by RPD too. That's it that I have for that subdivision number.
Thank you for that. Any questions to the plan? Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
So just going back to these accessory buildings, yeah, I guess there's a few options there. One is to remove them, one is to move them. But we're also going to have 2 accessory buildings on a lot without a primary residence, correct? It looks like there's a garage and a shed and be on the residual lot.
Yes, this is the situation.
Yeah. But all of that also could be done with another variance. That's
Yeah.
another option, right?
For sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody else have anything? Go ahead, Councillor Boulanger.
Just a question to the planner. The proposed lot to the north, it says the back lot on the riverside, it says to be consolidated with that one.
Yeah.
Is there access to the back lot? No, I didn't think so, just looking at the creek. Okay, they're to be
No.
consolidated, but there's no access. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, and then the residual only goes to the creek,
Yeah.
correct? Okay, so with that, I guess we can move into variations or for the other part.
I know you want to speak, but you can't speak at this part. That's why we're doing the public hearing, so you can speak and give you the opportunity to speak.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we'll go into, lost my train, where am I here?
Going into variation.
Variation 100, is it?
Yes.
It was resolved that the regular meeting be adjourned and the public hearing be open for variation order 100 of 2024.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Horbis, Councillor Strang seconds, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. And if you could walk us through the variation then.
For sure. Thank you, Mayor. So this is a variance application that combined to the previous subdivision application, DO 100 2024. It's the same location. It's the box written as a primarily residence instead of the lot itself. And so proposal is to reduce the site width of the residual lot in the subdivision application as 243076 in agriculture restricted zone. So what is permitted by the zoning bylaw of San Clemente in 198 feet, and they propose 184.06 feet. It's the same property with the same subdivision map. So should council wish to approve this application, the RPD recommends the following condition: that variance is limited to what has been presented. Any other changes will require new variance approval, and by applicant in order to obtain all required permits from us and RM. That's it that I have here, Madam Mayor.
Thank you for that. Okay, I have one question. If I look closely at the map that we were just talking about, is there a home on this residual lot? Is
No.
there a home on the proposed lot?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. There was a huge garage though on the
Yes.
residual lot.
Yeah, okay. All right, so now, I know the applicant is in the audience. If there's no questions from council to the planner, I will ask the applicant if they wish to speak, if they want to just come to the podium and share their words of wisdom.
I've been sitting at a board meeting all afternoon too, I get it. Okay, good evening, I'm White Cheryl. We're in agreement with the proposed subdivision. The reason to move the lot over a few feet is to encompass the driveway, my hydrant bowl, and my well. And then, as you can see, it goes down a few hundred feet and then goes back to the original river lot line. So it's within the 15% guideline for the RM that is established. And I have no problem taking down all the buildings. The machine shed stays, because this was a dairy operation at one time. So that building is there. It's too big of a building to take down, and it's worth too much money anyways. And we have no problem removing all the rest of the buildings. They're all derelict anyways.
Okay, any questions for the applicant?
So, if I
Go
could
ahead,
have-
yeah, go ahead.
I'm trying to get an understanding here. What you're saying is that garage that's been identified, which is a machine shed, I'm assuming?
Machine shed, yeah, because it was a dairy operation, yeah.
So that machine shed, you plan to leave it there?
Staying there, yeah.
So just so it's clear that you understand, that means you will have to come back and spend more money for another application, for a variation, to allow for that machine shed to stay there, because it'll be an accessory structure without a principal building. So that'll be a separate approval you still need to have. I wanted to make sure you understood that.
Okay, is there a cost to that?
Yes.
Why would there be another cost?
Because it's a variation. If you were planning to do that and identifying that for Red River Planning, they could have built it in with this variance.
I thought we did.
Okay, I'm gonna let Councillor Boulanger say a word here.
I want to know why that planning didn't indicate this to the applicant. It may
We
not-
don't know that.
Okay, I'm giving respect to Madam Planner here. When an applicant goes in to the planning board and he indicates what they want to do, this is something that should be flagged and raised with the applicant. It's happened before, I'm just mentioning it. Thank you.
And that's why Councillor Spicer brought it up, and I want to make sure you're clear on all of these aspects. So when you go through a subdivision and a variance, you've asked for a variance on the lot, but by the way that you're going to leave this property in the end, you might require additional variances. One is, you're only allowed 2 accessory structures.
Mhm.
So anything beyond that, you're required to have another variance. So that would be another cost for another application and go through all the approvals and come forward for another public hearing and everything that goes along with it. The other is that you're asking to keep an accessory structure without the principal building there. And so if you're asking to keep an accessory structure without a principal building, that's not allowed in the zoning bylaw, and so you have to get a specific variance. That variance will be a lot more restrictive, just so you understand. Generally speaking, if somebody came in and said, I want to build a garage, but I don't want to build a house. I want to build a shed, and I don't want to build a house, they're going to say no. Or they're going to say, if you already have one there, you have a certain amount of time to build a house. Otherwise, the shed or something has to move. So because of your situation, when you brought that up, I wanted to make sure you understood that. And that's another good reason why we have these things together, because normally that subdivision would have been approved without any comments from you. And then when we came to the variation, we would have said, now you have a choice to ask to, I think, lay it over as an option, to have a further discussion with Red River Planning, whether you want to modify that variance and deal with all at once.
We can do it for sure. I think we left it as it is because the applicant agreed to remove
All
or
buildings.
to move.
Yeah, so I think
it
what they
won't be
thought,
on state at all then,
so there might have been some confusion as to the number of buildings you were removing, and somebody might have thought that you were removing that
all of them.
machine shed.
Yeah.
Well, that never was the intent, I think
Okay,
it's
I get it.
by 60, yeah.
I get it, that's why we're trying to save you some time and money.
Okay.
Because if you ask for it to be amended,
Yeah,
you can
we
go
do
back
that.
and then have that discussion and bring it back next month.
Can we,
And not have to go through all this.
Again.
Again.
can we lay this over, Madam Chair? Just to-
Well,
That's what, but it's choice.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
his choice,
Okay.
and he would, if we lay it over, and if he wants to bring it back, he would have to go to planning and get them to rejig the application. And Harvey, I'm not sure what your plan is, like you're looking at the south lot as the residual lot
Right,
that has the shop on it, I'm gonna call it a shop.
yeah.
I guess, to me, when I'm looking at this, what are the chances that you might want to move that lot line to incorporate that shop into the proposed lot?
I've got a shop at home. I don't need that property.
No, I think the problem would be if you rejig the property line,
Yeah,
it would be almost like a driveway.
driveway, that's
Well,
right,
it's,
yeah.
well, that's why we moved the line to encompass the hydro pole, which is on the other side of the
Oh,
driveway,
okay,
and the well, which is on the other side of the driveway
Okay.
for the current house.
okay.
So that puts the building in compliance with all
Right,
the measurements
right.
and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so it'll be up to you. Do you want us to not deal with this and go back to planning and see what you can figure out with planning? And I noticed that Cheryl had her hand up. Did you have something that you wanted to add to what Arvi has already
I just
shared?
believe that the buildings that we were to remove or move, period, were all wooden structures that were small and derelict. The shop itself was never mentioned.
That's why we have these meetings, so that we can
Yeah.
clarify. Sometimes confusion occurs.
Yeah.
So there may be additional costs to update that variance, I don't know. Red River will let you know. But I think the big choice is if you started a whole new variance after the fact, after all this approval, to keep the shop as a separate variance, then you're looking at the same cost as this variance.
I'm sorry, so if he leaves it and tables it and does it later, there's a variation, he'd have to pay more money for it. If he left it as a condition, he pays half the price of what it is. Because planning has their fee bylaw states that he pays $1,500 for any variance dealing with a subdivision. So if I'm not mistaken, by putting it as a condition in there, he pays half the price of that. Because it's not done with the subdivision, it's done separately on its own.
The question is, can he have both of those items in one variation order?
Yeah, we can have.
So one variation application, not separate applications. If it's a separate application, so that it's clear, if it's a separate application, you could ask council to give you an order to get a variation for the accessory structure, then you'll pay half the price of a full variation. And it'll be done after the fact. But the better option is to lay this over and do it right, have a discussion with Red River Planning, figure out the costs to the best of your advantage.
Okay?
Yeah.
If you're willing to wait a month before it comes back, a month or a month and a half, whatever it takes.
I'm willing to wait, I guess.
We're gonna have to, aren't we?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
All right.
Sorry to throw the fly in the ointment, I just figured better fix it now because, yes, it's gonna take more time, but it should save you money from doing another variation later.
Okey-doke, yeah.
Okay, so we're holding this over.
Sorry, Madam Mayor, there's a question.
Yeah,
from
go
the-
ahead.
Yeah, no, just so I'm clear, so we're gonna do this variation again, and then we're going to come back, and then we have to get a hearing?
It'll be the same
It'll
as.
be the same here, it's all laid over,
Right.
and it'll
We're
be
just,
coming back with
yeah,
an
we're
amendment.
holding it over, we're not making a decision, so you'll have to go through the same process.
You'll have to be advertising it, yes.
Yes,
You have to re-advertise it.
yeah.
Right.
I'll just move it signed out.
Because there will be a substantial change in the application.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I said, talk it over. If it's laid over and you decide not to make a substantial change, based on the information you get from Red River, now that everybody's clear as to what you're doing, then you can make an educated decision based on the information they tell you. And if you decided, oh no, I would rather go in and get this approval right now, and I'll worry about that other variation later, then there's no advertising, it was laid over, you just come back and deal with it at that point. If you've made a significant enough change, Red River will decide whether additional advertising was needed to make sure that the public was aware, as per the act. So the whole principle here is to try to help you the best we can.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay,
Then we'll wait. We'll be talking down here.
okay, I do have one other name on my list here that is for information, and that's Richard and Donna Curvis. Did you have anything that you wanted to say, or
Well,
were
I
you
just
here
wanted
to
to
listen?
ask about, because, just wanted to ask if,
Do you want to come to the podium, Donna?
well, I just wanted to know what Harvey's plans were for the property, and at some point down the road, if he had planned to have development on that land. And I don't know what's required there, like how many lots would he be able to put on there? And then also too, there is an issue with water. When we bought the property 51 years ago, there was, Belmont had that property, and there was a low spot, and that low spot ran into our property, which ran into Hartenberger's property, and then the water ran into the creek.
Right.
Fred Hartenberger decided to develop his land for his daughters, and he put a road in.
Yeah.
And they put a culvert in there. And that was working fine. And then Bob decided that he was gonna fill in his high spot with manure and hay. So he filled in that spot with that manure and hay. So now the water is on our property. And now, with the municipality coming to clean the snow in wintertime, all that snow gets blown up into big snow banks in the ditch there. And that, like last year, we had water over our driveway and in our field until almost the end of June.
Yeah, because you're on the east side of the road, correct?
We're right beside.
Oh, you're right beside.
Right beside Mount,
Okay.
yeah. We're Harvey's land now.
Yeah.
So the issue is with water, and we actually lost a tree, one of the trees in our driveway from sitting in that water, it came down. So we've had an issue with water there for several years. And that culvert, I guess, in the road, I don't know if it's not thawing out quickly enough or what's happening, but we're just having, it's not moving the way it should be.
That's in our road, not in the provincial.
It is,
correct?
yes, it's on your road, yeah.
Yeah. So I think what we'll do is our CAO will make a note of that so the guys can go out and check that.
Well, I think I can address a couple of things.
Okay.
First of all, as part of this subdivision, if the subdivision gets approved, which it hasn't yet.
Okay.
Because they're laying it over.
Yeah, I
And so
understand that. Yeah.
it'll be coming back, and if it gets approved, they'll be required to develop a drainage for the two lots to make sure that they don't adversely affect
Yeah,
anything, so they'll.
it's
it'll
one of the
cover
conditions
subdivision.
that I mentioned already today.
So
I
a
didn't
drainage
quite
plan will be
understand.
required as
Okay.
part of that. On top of that, we can have our public works take a look at the issues, if you could send a request in, or if we've taken note of it, Heather, we'll make sure that we
Okay.
get somebody to contact you.
So
and
you
deal with
already
your-
have taken note now, I don't have to make a request, or do I? Okay, it's.
So you've taken the note.
Okay, perfect.
At first I said make a request, but then
Okay.
remembered that Heather takes note of everything I say,
Okay.
keeps me accountable. So within those two things, there would be a way of addressing, you're at 79024, I'm assuming?
79002 is where we're at.
790, so you're to the south.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, so I see your land is just, you're occupying basically right, let me turn the planning on. You're right in here.
Yeah. Yeah,
So that's why your concern is that that drainage doesn't come back into your property.
I'd
And
like
so-
to get the drainage off of our property that we have right now. I mean, this spring we'll have issues again with water. You know, so that's what I'm.
Yeah, there's only so much we can do on
Yeah, I
private
understand,
property.
totally understand that, but I just didn't want whatever
Yeah.
Harvey decides to do to maybe cause.
If Harvey, pardon me using your first name, if he goes in there and subdivides the land, his requirement is that subdivision, any subdivisions cannot adversely affect beyond what was already happening on that land.
Okay.
So that's a requirement. That's up to them. If they sell it, the next person who comes to, if somebody goes in, first of all, as part of the subdivision, they'll have to show what the drainage plan is. And then when somebody comes in there to build, if they decide to sell it, they will also have to have a drainage that will be consistent with the drainage plan, because you can't adversely affect your neighbors
And
on
also,
subdivisions.
on another topic, if, say Harvey decides to develop, or if he sells it and somebody else wants to develop it, would they be allowed to have septic fields, or will they be holding tanks? Because I don't know, we're close to the creek and stuff like that, like I don't know what the bylaw is now, that kind of thing.
It's over 2 acres, they are allowed to have a septic field.
Okay.
That'll be a license that they will receive from the province of Manitoba, who will take a look at how close it is to an existing creek and water body before they grant any licenses.
Yeah.
So septic fields have to be a certain distance away and all those things.
Okay.
Yeah, another problem with our water is, it's, some of that is the municipal fault.
Oh, he knows that, I just.
Because in the winter time it's a grader.
I just told him that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and they don't respond to clean the culvert out after.
It's okay, you're gonna look into it.
Yeah.
We will follow up on it,
Thank
sir.
you.
Okay.
And I apologize
Well, I
on
went
behalf of the RM.
2 or 3 times there, it fell on deaf ears.
He apologized, he said, on behalf of the RM. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just want to clarify, they're all, both of the residual and the proposal more than 10 acres, so they actually can keep ejectors if they have those two, because the lots are more than 10 acres.
Okay, so
So
they
there are a lot of possibilities to go.
Yeah, and those are all licenses that are from Manitoba
Province.
Environment?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so on this application, which was S 243076 and variation order 100 of 2024, we are holding those over till our next meeting. And I think Mr. Levin is going to go to the planning board and see what he can figure out with that one building. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
just to keep in mind for advertising purposes, we need a certain amount of time for advertising, so I encourage you to go see Red River Planning as soon as possible.
Yeah, well, I'll just need to sign up. Yeah, no problem. Yep.
Councillor Spicer.
So does that mean we're tabling this hearing until a month from now?
Correct. Hearing and subdivision application.
Both.
Okay.
Until the amendment will come, and we'll register that, and as soon as they will apply, we just schedule it to the next
Right.
public hearing.
And they'll both come forward again, like we're not going to deal with one and not the
Yeah.
other one. They'll both
All of them.
come
We will
back.
combine the variance as a
Right.
two section to the same variance. Number of the buildings and dwelling, garage without dwelling.
Thank you, Donna.
Okay, thank you for that. So now we're gonna move on to subdivision file S20.
Can we do the resolution to table the public hearing?
Is it table or adjourn until the next one?
Adjourn.
Well, adjourn, yeah, because we're still in.
Resolved that variation order 100-2024 be adjourned until March
25th.
25th?
Yep.
March 25th, 2025. And resolved, oh, sorry, first you have to vote on that.
Well, can we just do them with both in one resolution?
The other one wasn't a public hearing.
Oh, it wasn't a public hearing.
Okay, so moved by Councilor Horbis, second, Councilor Strang, all in favor, opposed, carried. Okay, now we're going to go on to subdivision file S24-3080 and variation order 116-2024 in the name of Bodnar. And Valentina, if you could walk us through that one, please.
For sure. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this is subdivision application S24-3080, located on 32037 Road 73 North. And the purpose of that application is to adjust the boundaries of the subject land. As you will see on the SAM, applicant comes with 2 lots to subdivide and comes out with the 2 lots. That's why we call it a boundary adjustment. No additional lots being created. So the lot, the smaller lot number 1 already separated by municipal road of 19.80 acres and consolidate the residual 2 together to create 1 bigger lot, number 2 of 126.97 acres in A80 agricultural general zone. So here we can see a location map of the 2 title properties and proposed lot has been already separated by the highway. Here we can see the application subdivision map from the applicant with a detailed map of it. And both lots are in compliance with the site limit, but one, the proposed lot of smallest one, and 19.8, is not in compliance with the site area. As by the A80 zone, it's required to be 80, and they require it to be 90, but still it's separated. So RPD notes the following. Subject property consists 2 lots of 74 and 79 acres for now. An applicant seeking to adjust the boundaries of the land for the smaller lot that already been separated by the road to 19 and consolidate the rest to 1 big lot at 126.97 acres. The subdivision is not conformance with the St. Clement zoning bylaw, and variance will be required to bring it into compliance, hence the variance that we will hear today too. But according to the policy in 4.1, 4.3 of the development plan, the designation were a condition to create smaller than 80 acreage lots if the site is being physically separated as a remnant parcel in development of transportation corridor or a major drain cannot reasonably be used for farming purposes and will not create a land use conflict if subdivided. So by that policy, that proposal is in compliance with the development plan. So the next thing, Manitoba Hydro has noted requirements to obtain permits and easements for utilities that will be required. No other agencies raise any other concerns. And the RPD recommends that the application will be approved with the conditions that applicant submits written confirmation from municipality that taxes on the land being paid, required applicable fees to be paid, provide a digital copy of the plan, and it goes into brings a written confirmation from Manitoba Hydro that easement been made, and also by applicant to obtain all variants that we will require for that lot size. I will continue with that.
We'll have to go.
Oh,
We'll have to
you
go
have
to
to go.
variation, yes.
This is Road 73 North, variation order 116.
Yeah.
Enter into public hearing. Resolve that the regular meeting be adjourned and a public hearing be open for variation order 116, 2024.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Vazzarova, Councillor Spicer seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And go ahead, Valentina.
Thank you, Mayor. So, combined application to the previous subdivision number in Bill 116/2024 on the same location. And the purpose of that variance is to reduce the side area of proposal of number one that connected to subdivision S243080 in the agriculture general zone. As been mentioned before, by the zoning bylaw, it's supposed to be 80, but they proposed in 19.06 acreage. This is the same location map and the same subdivision map from the applicant. And should council wish to approve this application, RFP recommends the following conditions. There are two under condition of variance that is limited to what has been presented. Any other changes will require new variance, and by applicant owner to obtain all required permits from us and municipality. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much for that, Valentina. Any questions to the planner on this application? Okay, is the applicant in the audience? Okay.
We've been waiting a while.
Speak.
My name is Larry Plaskett, and I'm the outlaw here.
Oh.
And this is Randy Bodner. He's the son of the applicant, Elizabeth Bodner. Elizabeth Bodner is 93 years old, and she's been on this property for a lot of years. She does not live there anymore, and she is ready to sell. So, back in the early 90s, the highways department came through and sliced the property into two pieces. As you can see there, one is 19 acres roughly, and the other one is 126. The 19 acres is basically the yard site with the dwelling, and the other part on the north side is mostly farmland there. We have some local people who are interested in farmland, but not necessarily in the residence. So the 19 acres, it would be an ideal spot for a family that wants to have a little bigger area to live on, and maybe if they have kids, a big yard there and so forth. And like I said, the land on the north side is mostly farmland, so it's conducive to a farmer looking at it, buying it.
Okay, so the 19 acres is on the south side of 44.
On the south side, that's right. And that's yard site and residence there.
Okay. Okay. Any questions to the presenter? Did you want to say anything further?
Just that the highway is rerouted, to the north side, and then the farm was split in two. And so we have an opportunity to go for a title for both pieces. So we finally did it. We've been looking at it for years to actually do this, and so it took 20 years, but we finally did it. In terms of making the application.
Better late than never.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions from council? Okay, there is one other couple in the audience here, and I'm not sure, did you want to speak to this application? Oh, you're tourists today. Okay, so I think we've done everything, so if council is ready, we can come out of the variation board and we can deal with this one.
Resolved that the public hearing for variation order 116 of 2024 be closed in the regular session of council. be reconvened.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, Councillor Sutherland seconds, all in favor, opposed, that is carried. And if you want to bring the resolution
Regarding
forward.
subdivision application number S 24-3080, proposal of Bogner to subdivide northwest 9-13-6E and southwest 9-13-6E, resolved that council approve the said application subject to the following conditions. 1, applicant owner submits with written confirmation for the municipality stating that A, taxes on the lands to be subdivided for the current year and any arrears have been paid. B, required applicable fees to be paid as per bylaw 8 of 2023. C, provide a digital copy of the plan of subdivision to the RMSA comments. 2, applicant, owner submits written confirmation from Manitoba Hydro that easement agreements has been entered into with Manitoba Hydro with respect to existing and or future facilities associated with the subdivision, and the plan of easement as required in the Real Property Act has been provided. 3, applicant owner to obtain variances for lot size as required.
That's it, okay, can I have a mover, please? Councillor Horbis moves, second, please. Councillor Sutherland, any further discussion on this application? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried.
Now moving on to the variance.
Great.
Whereas the applicant owner of tax roll number 264-300 and 264-600 legally described as northwest 9-13.6E and southwest 9-13-6E and located at 32037 North has made application for variation order number 116 of 2024 from site area 80 acres minimum to proposed lot 1, 19.06 acres. To reduce the site area of proposed lot 1 in subdivision application S24-3080 to bring into compliance on the subject property. Therefore, be it resolved variation order 116 of 2024 be approved with the following conditions. 1, this variance is limited to what has been presented in this application. Any further changes, replacements, or additions would require new variance approval. 2, applicant owner obtains all required permits from Red River Planning District and the municipality if required. Approval shall expire if not acted upon within 12 months from the date of making.
Thank you for that. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Spicer, second. Councillor Strang, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. And I believe we are at our last applications for this evening, and thank you very much for your patience today. It is file number S24-3084 and variation 131-24 in the name of Greenwood.
Who will send the resolution?
Great. Okay, so we are going to do the subdivision first. That is the one in the name of Greenwood.
So this is a subdivision application S24-3084 located on 130 William Road. And the purpose of that application is to create 2 additional lots, SRC zone residential zone. Here we can see the location maps. We barely can see any houses there. They don't treat a particular lot to understand where is the house. But still, this is a subdivision application map from the applicant with all proposed lots. And all of the lots that have been proposed are in compliance with the zoning law. None of them require any variances, and we know that proposed subdivision meets both the RM of zoning bylaw and the development plan 2. Manitoba Hydro will require easements, no other agencies raise any other concerns. So the RPD recommends that the application will be approved with the conditions that the applicant to submit a confirmation in writing from the RAM that taxes on the land being paid, require applicable fees being paid, provide digital copy of the plan, applicant the owner prepare a drainage plan to be submitted to RM2. And by applicant to provide a letter of credit to the municipality prior to drainage construction, amount to be determined. And applicant owner submits written confirmation from Zavahiro about the easement too. That's it that I have for that case, Madam Mayor, thank you.
Thank you very much. We can move into variation board then.
There's no variation on this one, so this.
Oh, just the subdivision?
No variance required here.
Oh.
Everything is in compliance.
Okay, that's not what my sheet says, so.
Yeah, we have a variation for 131.
131/2024.
It's the same one.
It's like it's on there twice. Right?
No, it's a variation,
No.
there's a subdivision and a variation.
Yeah, one's hearing, one's.
Yeah. The subdivision is file S243084.
Accessory structures and.
Yeah, it's something that's not connected to that subdivision.
Oh, it's not connected to the subdivision.
So we can.
You can still
deal
give a
with it.
variation at the same time if you want, or just approve the subdivision move on.
You know what, let me check it again, just a
The
second.
report says that this variation is also part of conditions of approval
Let me check
of
it.
subdivision application.
Yeah, sorry, it's been a while, yeah.
Okay, okay, so.
We're too late today, yeah. It is connected variance, comes not the lot with not the site area, but some other things on the property that I,
Okay, so we're gonna move into variation and then
Yeah.
you can give
Yeah,
us the
for sure.
information on it,
Mhm.
Valentina.
Resolved that the regular meeting be adjourned and the public hearing be open for variation order 131 of 2024.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Horton, Councillor Blanche, Councillor Sutherland.
Wait till you see the rest of the agenda.
Any further questions? All in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. So walk us through the variation and we should be able to go through this.
yeah, okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. So this is a variance application number 131/2024, located on the same property that we've gone through the previous subdivision, 150 William Road, and proposal to increase the maximum number of accessory structures allowed and the
I'm sorry,
maximum unit.
Valentina, I've just lost your screen.
Oh, we're still sharing.
Oh, no, I know you're sharing.
You're not
Screw it
sharing.
up there.
Okay then. And the number of accessory structures allowed and the maximum unit area as a condition of approval for subdivision S243084 in SR Seaton residential zone. So by the zoning bylaw, there is permitted a number of accessory structures, only 2, they propose 4, and maximum unit area is 1,800 square feet, and they propose 1,224 square feet. So this is the same location with the area location map and same subdivision. Those are accessory buildings that actually we are talking about in that variance. And should council wish to approve this application, RPD recommends the following standard conditions: that variance will be limited to what has been presented, and the other changes will require new variance, and by applicant to obtain all required permits from us and municipality if required.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, any questions of the planner? Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
I'm afraid to ask. This is in meters, correct? I'm gathering? The subdivision map is done in meters?
Yeah, it is meters.
So the side yard is good on these 3 buildings then, because it'll be, well, it's typically 5 feet, right?
Yeah.
Side yard, so
I'm
we're good. 'Cause I was just
We're good.
wondering, because it's,
No, we're good. I've checked.
one was 2.84 and one was 2.72, but if it's in meters, we're good.
Otherwise, yeah.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
okay.
it will be mentioned in the variance too.
Perfect.
Okay. So, any further questions to the planner? You have been very patient. Do you have anything you want to add to your application?
Last again. I was getting that long line at Costco. No, well, as far as the outbuilding, this subdivision, we've had this property for many years, and we bought it as 2 lots. The first lot we bought, and then about 3 months later we bought another one, and we used the vendor's lawyer when it came back as 1 parcel. So now as part of my exit plan, because I have 2 kids, I want to subdivide it back to the original dimensions. So the buildings, well, one of the accessory buildings is a 28 by 28 garage at the back, and then I have a gazebo at the front, and then there's one in the middle is, well, I call it a tarp shed, I think it was referred to here as a cover-up. And the other one's a fishing shack that is built on a base that is made to be picked up with a skid steer with pallet forks. So that's where we're at.
Okay, any questions to the applicant? Council's ready to deal with it?
Yep.
Okay, so if we can have the resolution for, no, we have.
Resolved that the public hearing for variation 131 of 2024 be closed and the regular session of council be reconvened.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Spicer, Councillor Horwath seconds, all in favor, opposed, carried. Now, if you would like to bring the resolutions forward.
Resolved subdivision application number S24-3084, proposal of Greenwood to subdivide block 5, plan 6310. Resolved that council approve the said application subject to the following conditions. Applicant order submits confirmation in writing from the municipality stating that taxes on the lands to be subdivided for the current year and any arrears have been paid. B, required applicable fees to be paid as per bylaw 8 of 2023. C, provide a digital copy of the plan of subdivision of the Arnold St. Clements. D, applicant order prepare a drainage plan to be submitted to the Arnold St. Clements to review and acceptance as per the servicing standards of the municipality. Applicant order to provide a letter of credit to the municipality prior to the drainage construction, amount to be determined. 2, applicant order submits written confirmation from Manitoba Hydro that an easement agreement has been entered into with Manitoba Hydro with respect to existing and future facilities associated with the subdivision, and a plan of easement as required by the Real Property Act has been provided.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowick, Councillor Strang seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried.
Now for this variation, Madam Mayor.
Right.
Whereas the applicant owner of tax roll number 693450 legally described as block 5, plan 6310, and located at 130 William Road, has made an application for variation order 131 of 2024, number of accessory structures 2 max, to a number of accessory structures 4. Maximum unit area, 800 square feet maximum to maximum unit area 1,224 square feet. Purpose to increase the number of accessory structures on their property and to increase the maximum unit area allowed. Therefore, be it resolved the variation order 131 of 2024 be approved with the following conditions. 1, this variance is limited to what has been presented in this application. Any further changes, replacements, or additions will require a new variance approval. 2, applicant order obtains all required permits from the planning district and the municipality if required, and approval shall expire if not acted upon within 12 months of the date of making.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Sutherland, Councillor Strang seconds. All in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. And we can't even go home yet because we haven't finished our meeting.
I'm glad I can. Thank you. Have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you, you too. Thank you very much, Valentina.
Yeah, thank you too. Sorry for my mistake. It was too late for me to recognize those.
No, that's okay.
That's okay.
You're
No
not staying with
problem.
us here for a couple more hours? or-
Oh, no, thank you.
You're okay with me interrupting every now and then, Valentina?
For sure.
Sometimes that can be overbearing.
No, we're good, we're totally good, yeah, especially with not related to the application things around.
You know how much it took for Councillor Horwath to hold back after I called myself overbearing?
Okay, I have 5 minutes.
Can we, before we shut the camera off, because we've got 10 minutes till curfew,
Yeah,
I have the resolution to extend the meeting.
Are we gonna be done before curfew?
No.
Are you kidding?
He's 12.
So I just need to know what time are we going till? We have to pass the resolution.
The person that represented very, very long oppositionary application, he forgot his USB here with his pictures. This is
oh,
the
that's
one.
Oh, the cover.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
USB itself is still here? Or
No,
is it
the
took it?
ticket.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought he forgot that one too.
Okay, how long are we
We'll
gonna
make
go?
sure.
How much do we have
What
to
we got
do?
left?
Well, we
One,
did the
two,
well, we only got a couple of items.
Half an hour should do it.
10:30?
10:30 should be fine.
Okay.
We'll stick to it.
Good luck with
Extend
that.
it to 10:30.
You can extend it to 11. and
Just
then
11,
or
and if we're done
finish
early,
at
we can
10:30.
leave.
Yeah.
But that means that I'm gonna cut you off when you start, yeah.
Leeway is not good.
Where's the resolution?
I got it open. Resolve the meeting be extended to 11 PM. Is that what you guys agreed to?
Oh, yeah. It's been very-
Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Strang, second. Nobody wants to stay. Counselor Sutherland, all in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And let me shut the camera off for 5 minutes.
Well, we gotta go in camera first. Resolve the council recess the regular meeting and go into in camera to discuss legal and personnel issues, and further be it resolved that all matters discussed are remain confidential as per section 83(1)(b) of the municipal act.
Moved by Counselor Horvath, second Counselor Sutherland, all in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Thank you. Okay.